Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we talk about all things financial literacy. And today we're going to be looking at building your credit. And I've done a few videos on this channel where I talk about credit repair. If you're interested in that, then there's a playlist that you can click in the description where you can look at all things credit repair tips, videos, late payments, charge-offs, collections, anything like that. You'll find that in the description. But I wanted to make a compilation of something where we just talk about strictly building and how you can build your score from, for example, for me, as low as like the 400 range to a 760 currently, and I've been as high as an 800. I'm going to show you where my score originated from, where it is now, some things that I did, and then we're going to break down exactly all the videos that will be included in this compilation. So this is something that's included with Experian, and it shows my previous score, and as you can see, it's been as low as 403. Since then, I've gone up to as high as an 800 credit score, which once you get to about the 800 range, anything above 799, you go from being very good to being exceptional. So as long as you can get within that range, pretty much what you get approved for will kind of be the same thing from 800 to 850. So I have been there and I know exactly what it takes to get there. And I can definitely attest to that coming from 403. And it may not take you this long, to be honest. You can get your score to something in like the 700 range in a very short period of time, but you have to understand what makes up your entire credit score. So in this compilation, you're going to see the first video. It's going to be about how to get your FICO score for free. Reason being, you need to be able to find your FICO score and know the difference between your Vantage score and your FICO score so that you know exactly which one is accurate. So that video is going to be in the description. It's going to be the first one. If you want to jump to it, then you can jump to that now. The second video is going to show you exactly what's included in your score. What I mean by that is your credit score is comprised of about 5 different elements, and it's going to show you each one, how they weigh against each other, what's the most important, how you can maximize all of your points so you can get an 800 or 850 score. The third video is going to discuss credit cards. It's going to talk about the best ones that you can get as a starter if you have fair credit or if you're actually in very good status, but you just want to push to that 800 range. There'll be something for everyone depending on, where they're starting. You will have an option for you. Check out that video if you want to know which credit cards could be best for you at the stage that you currently are. But just know that in order for you to have a high credit score, you need to have a credit card that you're actively paying on. The only way to have a good credit score is to participate in paying debt. There's no way around it. It's the only way. You have to be paying off some sort of debt to have a good score. The fourth video is going to be the best time to pay your credit card payment, because that can also greatly affect your score. Like for me right now, I have a 760. If I pay my utilization down, I may be able to jump back up to like a 790 very quick. So that's just an example of how important that is. There will be a video for that. The last video is going to be another compilation of credit builders. It's going to be 6 trade lines that I recommend. They don't require a credit check. I believe if you follow all of the steps in this video and just take the bits and pieces that you need, then you'll be able to get a 800, 850 score. And again, if you're someone who's rebuilding, if you need to, take off some derogatory information, there is an entire playlist below that you can click on. And I have multiple videos throughout this channel that you can watch that'll help you with that. Right. And before I wrap this up, I just wanted to take a look at the most impactful factors of your score. If you recall, I talked about there's 5 different elements that really make up your score, and that's going to be the account history. So as you can see, that is my weak link here. I need more history, which means I need more time without opening any new accounts. So pretty much if I want to get to the 850 range, I know that after I pay my utilization down, I just need to let my score age. No missed payments. You cannot have missed payments. On-time payments is the highest factor when it comes to your score. It's 35%. Recent card usage utilization is 30%. That is very, very important. No credit seeking. That's the hard inquiries. That is 10%. No collections or public records. Well, this is just going to make sure that it's not anything impacting your score or hurting it. And then, of course, we have account history, which will be 15%. So that is everything that makes up your score. Again, the second video goes into detail about all of that. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. But this is going to be a great comprehensive guide to you building your credit, especially if you don't know anything about it. That second video will really, really help. I recommend watching them in order if you have not seen any of these. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Have you ever been on Credit Karma and saw that your credit score was amazing, but then you went to apply for something and got flat out rejected? Me too. Chances are you weren't looking at your FICO 8 score. Instead, you saw your Vantage score. So today, I'm going to show you how to get all 3 FICO 8 credit scores. There are 2 primary systems today for scoring your credit. One is FICO. The other is going to be your Vantage score, the thing you see on Credit Karma. We still have other systems that exist, but these are the 2 main ones that we're going to focus on. The Fair Isaac Corporation introduced the first FICO system back in 1989, and according to the company, they still use that for 90% of lending decisions. So the 3 major credit bureaus introduced the Vantage score. That was Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. They were trying to make something that was more predictive and a scoring model that was easy to understand and apply. So keep in mind, your Credit Karma score is still a real credit score, the Vantage score, but the one that lending decisions depend on is your FICO 8 score. So we're going to jump on the computer and I'm going to walk you through the process of how to find all 3 of those scores for free. First and foremost, before I show you guys how to get the 3 FICO 8 credit report scores for free, I want to bring you to annualcreditreport.com. So by law, you can get a free credit report each year from the 3 credit reporting agencies. That's going to include Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Now, I thought this was supposed to end on December 2023, but it still says you can request a free weekly online credit report for Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. So if you want to request the report and you want to see the reports here, all you have to do is follow the 3 steps. You fill out the form with your information, your first name, last name, social security number, verify that, and your address. It may ask you a couple of verifying questions, and then you'll be able to see your credit report. Now, the only thing with that is it doesn't give you your FICO 8 score. You're going to get bill payment history, loans, current debts, things of that nature. So again, this is just if you want to see the information, but it will sort of reflect the same information that you see when you go to Credit Karma. If you want to see the report, go here. That is free. Just want to make note of that. The first website to get your free credit score is going to be Experian.com. So Experian actually allows you to get your free FICO 8 score when you set up an account with them. And again, that is free. It tells you right here, credit score calculated based on FICO 8 score model. And it lets you know that you're able to get that with no credit card required. So checking your own credit will not lower your credit score, and you're able to get this new score every 30 days. So you can download the you can download the Experian app, set up an account for free. You'll get your FICO 8 score updated every 30 days at no cost to you. That's completely free. The next website that we're looking at is My FICO. So if you go to My FICO, there is a free plan where you can see your Equifax credit report every month. And again, no credit card is required. And it's going to be your FICO 8 score. So you can update this once a month. You can set up Experian and this account on the exact same day. And right here, it lets you know the free version, 1 bureau coverage. That's going to include FICO 8 scores, version 8, 1 credit bureau, and monitor reporting. So I would go ahead, start a plan here too, so you can get that other free FICO 8 score today. Now, the last bureau that we're going to be looking at is TransUnion. Now for TransUnion, even if you sign up with an account with TransUnion themselves, they only give you your Vantage score. They don't give you your FICO 8 score. I found 3 primary ways to see that score. If you have a Discover It credit card, you can see your TransUnion score for free. A couple years ago, you didn't even have to have a card and you can see this score for free, but they did change that. So you get the free TransUnion FICO 8 score with a Discover card. You can also get the FICO 8 score with TransUnion if you have a credit card with Bank of America. So with Bank of America, any credit card, I would suggest if you don't have a credit card with them, if you want to maybe look at the secure card options, something like that, then you can, build credit, but also gain access to that FICO 8 score. That way you can keep up to date with how that score is increasing. And the other way would be Barclays. Now, it doesn't say it exactly right here, but I know that you can actually get your FICO, TransUnion FICO 8 score through Barclays if you have a credit card with them. And I think that there may be like 2 other banks that you can also have credit cards with where they're giving you your FICO 8 score with TransUnion for free. And though that's really the only other way that you can get TransUnion, unfortunately. Now, I do have one more thing that you can do, and that is Credit Check Total. I'm not sure if anybody else knows about this, but with Credit Check Total, for $1, you can get all 3 credit reports. Now, Credit Check Total is a subsidiary of Experian. So if you want to try this where you do need all 3 scores and you want them at the most reasonable price, you can get all 3 scores for $1. And that's it. Now, that does include a free trial for 7 days. All you have to do is go into the member login, sign in, go to the account, and you can cancel. So you can pay $1 for all 3 scores. That's going to give you the credit report. That's going to give you Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And then you're able to just get all 3 for the $1. You cancel the account and you can keep the report. You can download it, save it to your computer, or what have you, or just sign back in. It'll always give you that same report. But that way you have all 3. And then from there, again, if you were to get Bank of America, if you were to use Discover or Barclays, that's how you'll get that free TransUnion score. So I hope that this was helpful to you in some way. Please like, share, and subscribe. I did just finish 2 videos on how you can remove all collections from your credit report. I'm going to put one of those links here. And then if I can, I might take the other one, how to remove all credit inquiries. I'm going to put that link here. And that way you guys can check that out. Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. If you're new to this channel, we provide finance tips, business strategies, and everything that does involve finance. Today, I'm going to tell you 10 things school did not teach you about credit, and I'm going to break that down into 3 different parts. In part 1, we're going to discuss what is credit. In part 2, we're going to discuss the history of credit. And in part 3, I'm going to give you the 10 things that school did not teach you about credit. And if you're not familiar with my channel, welcome. I've helped over 200 people now get rid of charge-offs, collections, late payments, and delete derogatory information on their credit report. If you take a look at my channel and you need help with that, I have an entire playlist on credit repair, DIY tips. And if you need help with anything else as far as budget and increasing your credit score, I do have videos on that as well. Now, let's get into the first part. What is credit? And before I go over the definition of what credit is, I'm just going to give you how I perceive credit. So if I were to call you today and I were to say, hey, you've known me for 10 years, we're friends. Can you spot me $500? I'm going to get my car fixed and I'll pay you back next week. And I always pay you back with interest. I'll give you an extra $100. If you know me, you'll probably say, hey, that's Steven. He always pays me back. And every time he pays me back, sometimes he pays me back in 3-4 days. He pays me back early and he always gives me a little bit of extra money on top. So you know me, you trust me, right? So of course you'll give me the money. I'll pay you back with interest. Here's $600. Thank you. That's going to build some trust. Now, let's say a stranger was to call you. Same thing. Hey, can I borrow $500? You don't know this person. So initially you're going to be thinking, I don't know. I don't even know you. But what if I slid you a little note? I say, yo, that's Mark. Mark has paid back everyone he's borrowed money from over the last 10 years, and he rarely ever asks for money. You'd say, oh, okay. Well, Mark looked like he's responsible with his money. Yeah, sure. I'll borrow to Mark. Mark gonna pay me back a little bit extra. Awesome. Third phone call came. Can I borrow $500? It's from Mike. Mike is on his ninth phone call. Mike asked 9 people for the same $500, and Mike owes 4 people that same $500 and hasn't paid them back. Slid you a little note. I say, hey, look at this. You gonna look at Mike and say, man, Mike hasn't paid back anybody their money, and he's called 9 other people asking for more money? Definitely not, right? Because you don't know him, and clearly he doesn't pay anybody back. So that's how I see credit reports. Credit reports just let you know how likely someone is to pay you back. And if you have a credit score where you're rebuilding right now, or you have new credit, you have to look at it from that perspective. New credit, I don't know if you will or you won't, so I can't say what's going to happen. Bad credit, well, you have a history that you don't pay back. And maybe your history isn't that bad, so maybe I'll let you borrow money, but you're going to have to pay me back double. If I let you borrow 5, I need 1,000. That's a crazy interest rate, right? But that's the idea to look at it when you're thinking about, will someone lend you money? Look at it objectively speaking. So a credit score is a 3-digit number, typically between 300 and 850, designed to represent your credit risk or the likelihood you will pay back your bills on time. So creditors and lenders consider your credit score as a factor when deciding whether to approve you for a new account, and your credit score may also impact the interest rate and other terms on any loan or other credit account for which you qualify. This is simply what credit is. Now, for the history of credit, this actually started back in the 1800s. It goes much further back, but at that time, it was very hard for people to borrow money. You borrowing money was based off of your relationships with bankers, and it was also based off of your reputation. That's why a lot of elders, they go off of my word is my word. A handshake should say more than enough. Now, your credit report supersedes your reputation. But in the past, your reputation determined whether or not someone would lend you money. Now, we're going to start from the 1960s. That's kind of where all the things that we look at credit today, where they come into play, because there were over, I think, 2,000 credit reporting agencies before they were consolidated really into these top 3. So in 1968, TRW Information Systems was founded to acquire credit data, followed by the creation of TransUnion, another credit bureau. In 1969, TRW later sold to 2 private equity firms as Experian in 1996. In 1970, the Fair Credit Reporting Act was passed. This required credit bureaus to make their information public and remove any data that may be caused by discrimination, such as race, sexuality, or disability. RCC changed its name to Equifax in 1975. This was solidifying the 3 credit bureaus as we know them today: Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, our top 3. The 3 agencies partnered with the technology company Fair, Isaac & Company, FICO, to create a score in 1989. The first FICO score for general use was introduced, and now the primary score used for lending purposes is your FICO score, your FICO 8 score. You also have a Vantage score. That was a credit model started by the credit bureaus. I have a video on that if you need that to be explained. But for the most part, the one that we focus primarily on is FICO 8. That's the one that we take a look at. Okay. Now that we've gone over the history and what is credit, we're going to talk about the 10 things that they do not teach you in school when it comes to credit. So number 1, your FICO score breakdown. Everyone who has credit, or every person, I should say, starts off with a 300 credit score. No one starts off as 0. So basically, the number 300 is undefined. We don't know whether you pay back or you don't pay back. This is just the number that you get when you start. Nothing. 300 is what they give you because they don't know what you will or what you won't do yet. So having no credit is almost like, not like you're being penalized, but you have to participate in actively paying off debt in order to play this game. So no matter what, they force you to have to take on some debt in order to get a score. So if you don't have anything at all and you're not participating in paying debt in some way, it doesn't help you. But 300 is the start. So the name of the game is, how do you get the other 550 points? If we all start off at 300, a perfect credit score is 850. The other 550 points, how do we get it? Now, this is the breakdown. On-time payments and history are 35% of your credit score. They account for 192.5 points. On-time payments is 35%, 192.5. That means if you had a perfect credit score and you had one late payment, just one, you can lose 100 points for one late payment. That's why on-time payments, even though it seems like, oh, one late payment isn't a big deal, it is the biggest factor of your credit score. So with knowing that, that's probably going to make you want to ensure that you never have a late payment. This is something that they don't talk about. Even though you know the percentage, I don't think we always knew what the weight of that meant. One late payment can kill the whole thing. Your second biggest factor for your credit score is utilization, which is 30%. So utilization is how much credit you're using to what you have. So that makes up 165 points. Here's the secret tip about utilization. The only way for you to have utilization is to have a credit card. A revolving credit card account is the only account that has this factor, utilization. So you can't even get this 165 points. You could have a car, but if you don't have the 165, if you don't have a credit card, you're missing out on 165 points alone. So that should tell you a big factor is the first thing you should do if you want to get a good credit score and get the most of these points. Get a credit card, pay it on time, pay your utilization down to 10%. Some people say 30, it needs to be 10. Let me give you an example. If you have a credit card that has a limit of $200, 10% of that credit card is $20. So most people have a misunderstanding about credit cycles. When you first get a credit card, you have a statement cycle. That statement cycle usually runs from, let's say, the 15th of the month, and it'll close on, let's say, the 18th. That's your cycle date. People get confused about paying your credit card in full. You don't want to pay your credit card in full. You want to leave a balance. Now, let me explain what that means. If I use my credit card between the months of January and February, when my cycle date closed, it said that I had $20 left. You need to let that $20 report to the credit bureau so that it shows 10%. You can use your card then, the other 180, use it. When your statement is due, you pay the $20 you originally had, and then you need to pay your credit card down by 160, leaving $20 left. You need to let that $20 report. And then the next cycle date, it's going to say you owe, or your next due date, you owe $20. Use your credit card, leave $20 in that cycle date, let it report the 20, pay it off, and then use it, leave 20, let it report. I hope that makes sense, because I know that it's very confusing the way that cycle dates work, but you just need to make sure that you leave 10%. It's not going to cause you interest because the 10% that you're leaving is always going to be in the cycle date. If you want to make this as easy as possible, get a credit card, get something like Netflix and Hulu. That should get you like around $25, something like that. Get like a couple little subscriptions. Set an auto pay to pay it after your cycle date has closed. That way it'll always report the 20, and then your auto pay will always pay it after the cycle date closes. It literally will be on a cycle where it's just going to be on-time payments. You'll never lose that way. Hopefully that makes sense. Your credit age is 15%. That is 82.5 points of your credit score. Now, credit age is the one thing that I'm not going to say you can't manipulate it, but it's the one thing that sometimes you got to wait for. Like even for my credit score, it just got to the low 800s. At this point, I ran a simulation on my credit score. I pretty much have used up most of the points in every single category. So now all I have to do is just age my credit. I can do nothing but just wait now. Only time with the Experience Simulator, if you guys have ever used that, it shows you like what will happen if you make changes on your credit score. I'm at the point now where no matter what change I put, the only thing that actually will boost my credit score is time. So credit age is 15%, and that makes up 82.5 points. Every time you open an account, it cuts your age in half. So if you open an account and you have it open for 1 year, and then after 1 year you open a new account, it's going to cut your credit age to 6 months. So just think of it like that. Every new account cuts the credit age in half. So opening new accounts can hurt your credit age the older your credit age is. So think about that. It's put in place to try to discourage you from opening too many accounts. Just think about that. You got to play the game. Hard inquiries are 10% of your credit score. They take up to 55 points. Now, we already know of ways to remove hard inquiries. And of course, you want to make sure you don't remove hard inquiries that are associated with accounts that you would like to keep. Hard inquiries stay on your credit report for 2 years. So naturally, they'll fall off after 2 years. 55 points is not that much, but you definitely want to make sure you're not actively using too many hard inquiries, because if it looks like you're trying to get credit and you need money, that can turn lenders off. Credit mix is 10%. Credit mix is the different types of accounts that you have. So if you have nothing but just straight credit cards, that's not going to look too good. You want to have a mix of, you want to have a mix of loans. You want to have a mix of credit cards. You want to have different types of credit card accounts. You don't just want to have just the one. So this all together adds up to 550, because again, everyone starts off at 300. So if you want to get a perfect credit score, you have to know all of these factors and how these points break down. Okay, now these are going to be the other tips that they don't teach you in school. Is going to be 2 through 7, and this is how to build credit fast. Number 2 that they don't tell you, you need to get a bank account with a checkings and a savings account. Now, why? When you apply for a credit card, when you look at the application always asks you whether or not you have a checking and a savings. Now, here's why they ask. How are you going to pay back any of your accounts if you don't have a checking account to pay it back with? They also want to make sure that you have an idea of how you're going to be responsible with saving money, that there's going to be an actual cushion somewhere that you have prepared in case you need to, possibly take from that to pay them back. So it just looks more responsible when you have a checking account and a savings account. So for every credit card application, you always want to make sure that you say that you have a checking and you have a savings account. You want to apply for a secured card. Now, if you have good credit, this wouldn't really apply to you because you probably already have a credit card that you're using with rewards or points or something of that nature. Excuse me. If you're rebuilding credit, you want to apply for a secured card. There are some secured cards that don't even give you a hard inquiry. And there are also some credit card building apps like Ava and Kickoff that can give you a $2,500 credit card. The two of them combined would be a $5,000 credit card. No hard inquiry. It looks good. Those are two really good credit builder apps. If you have no credit, this is a good option because, again, there are some things that you can do where it doesn't even report a hard inquiry and you're guaranteed the approval for the most part. You want to get something like that, One, you need a guaranteed approval. You don't want to waste a hard inquiry if you get one, or you want to use a credit builder app where you can make sure that these accounts are going to report on-time payments with good limits. Then you want to apply for an installment loan. Remember what I said about credit mix? You need to make sure that you have different accounts. You don't just want just a credit card or 2 or 3, credit cards. You want installment loans. Again, I'm going to go over some that you can actually use, but that credit mix accounts for a good decent amount of points. When you're first trying to build credit, or you're trying to get a higher credit score, you do not want any hard inquiries for 6 months at the very least. Don't apply for anything. If you're rebuilding, maybe even a year, but at minimum 6 months. Do not apply for anything if you can help it. Now, this is, of course, after you got the secure card, or you've gotten some of the options where they don't do the hard inquiry. Do not do any more. Work with the installment loan, work with the secure card or the credit card building apps. Use that. Number 6, like I said before, you want to keep utilization at 10%. Keep it at 10%. And that's not 10% of your total cards. Like if you have 5 cards and the total of them is 2,000, you can't have like 1 or 2 cards maxed out or something, and that's 10% of the overall. It has to be 10% on every account. If one account is $200, $20 on that one. If that account has $300, only $30 on that one. Keep it at 10% and nothing more, because utilization is your second highest scoring factor, and it's the easiest to control. Easy to control that. All you have to do is just pay and leave enough that the 10% can report, and then you pay that next month. And then you leave 10% so that it could report, and that's what you're going to pay next month. And you just keep doing that over and over again. And you want to ask for a credit line increase for eligible cards after 6 months. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, when you increase your credit limit, it makes the utilization easier to achieve. So if you had a $300 credit card that got increased to $1,000, well, now that 10% just completely changed, right? Now you can spend more on that card. 10% would go to $100. And if you had a $10,000 card, now 10% is $1,000. So on and so forth. Not to say that you can't use more of that card. You can, but what you want to try to do is, if you use, $8,000 of that card, make sure you pay $7,000 before your cycle close date. Let the $1,000 report to the credit bureaus. They're going to report 10%, and that's also going to be the amount due on your next due date. So now if you want to go use $9,000, cool. But now you have to pay the $1,000 that you owe. Take that $9,000 and pay that down to $1,000, and let the $1,000 report 10%. And you just keep doing that over and over again. Once you start to get in the habit of doing it, it becomes very, very easy to control, very easy for you to maintain. And these following 2 through 7, they don't teach you this. This will be the thing that will get you to, this is what got me to a 700 credit score fast. It took no time at all, just by doing these things, just to know these things. This is going to help you. I'm telling you, they don't teach you this. So this is the other thing. Number 8, do not end any short-term installment loans. Don't close them early on any secure cards or loans. So remember, I was saying that if you don't actively participate in debt paying, then you're not going to have a credit score. You don't want to pay these accounts off early because they're reporting on-time payments. I know you're thinking, the moment I pay this account off, my credit score is going to go up because I paid the account off. It's going to be the contrary. You pay the account off, and now there's no more on-time payments coming from this account. It's just going to be closed and paid. So now it's actually going to drop your score, and that doesn't make sense to people. But think about this. We just said 35% of your score is on-time payments. 10% of your score is credit mix. So when you pay that account off, don't you lose two things? You lose on-time payments and you lose credit mix because the account's gone. Well, not gone, but it's closed. So that doesn't help you. So the thing about credit is, in order for it to be good, you have to always be actively paying on an account. So it's like it almost makes it to where you're in a situation where the only way to have perfect credit is that you're always paying something. So there's never going to be a point where you're not paying for something. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the only way to get the best credit score. You have to always actively be paying on something. And not only that, it can't just be a credit card. It has to be a mix of credit cards, installment loans, auto loans, mortgage. It has to be a mix. That's how they get you. Of course, we know we can't miss any payments. We know that. And then an easy trick is to put all your subscriptions on a credit card and set up auto pay. So we kind of brushed over that, but just to reiterate, you want to make sure that you're paying your accounts and you're never late. The easiest way to do that, especially with a small limit, is, like I was saying, take your Netflix, your Hulu, your Peacock, your HBO, your whatever. It's very cheap. You could get that to where if you even have a $500 limit, 10% is $50. Set up your auto pay for those subscriptions. Make sure that the auto pay is set to after the cycle date closes, so that that balance can report to the credit bureaus, and then it'll pay it after it reports. That way, it'll show that you're paying, that you're using it, and then you're paying it. Because if you report zero utilization, it's not going to count for anything. It's going to look like you're not using it. Remember what I said. You have to actively be participating in debt, in paying debt, in order to help your score. So if you pay the account in full and leave a zero balance, it's going to look like you're not using it. The only thing that matters is what's reported when your cycle date closes. So if you pay it off in full before the cycle date closes, it's going to just look like you never had a balance to begin with. How are you going to get 10% utilization if you paid it all off? So again, you're always paying off what you're using in that cycle date to 10%. Whatever it says that you owe for the previous month, you pay that on the due date. And then whatever you've used in your current cycle, you reduce it to 10% before the cycle date closes. That reports. Now we have a report less than 10%, and we're able to use our card actively. You just got to maintain that. That's it. This is the easiest trick to do it. Subscriptions and pay it on time. Spotify, your gym membership, whatever, as long as it's 10%, put it on auto pay, throw the card in a drawer, wait 6 months. You'll have great credit, especially if you don't have any derogatory marks or charge-offs. But if you do that, put it in a drawer, leave it alone, or download the Ava app. They give you a virtual card. They give you a list of subscriptions. They're things most people use. They only let you use 10% anyway. Basically, do that. Let that pay off. You're good. So any credit applications, before any credit applications, pay your utilization between 1% and 3% to maximize score. So this whole time I've been saying 10%, right? Because as a general consensus, I want to make sure that you're using your card actively, because there are some times where if you're not using a lot of your limit, then they can reduce your credit limit. But when you're getting ready to try to get approved for something, pay it down to around 1% to 3%. Pay it down there, because that's going to give you a nice little boost in your score. Again, this is what I talk. They don't teach you this. Before you go to apply for like a new credit card, get all of your accounts down to 1% to 3% to get a nice little boost before you apply. And make sure that all the credit cards report. That way you'll get that nice credit boost. Okay? It's another great tip. And number 9, when you're in the process of rebuilding credit, or if you're new to credit, you need to know the difference between a subprime card and a starter card. A subprime card are for people who are rebuilding credit. Premier Bank, Open Sky, Credit One Platinum, Fortiva MasterCard, Merrick Bank, Indigo MasterCard, Pedal One Visa, Tomo Credit Card, a Bank of America, the Secured Card, a Milestone MasterCard, a Surge Secured Card. These are all cards that you're going to see for people who are rebuilding credit. And these are not technically, I wouldn't say bad credit cards, but the purpose of these cards are for people who are rebuilding. And because of that, they're going to have higher APR. They probably have annual fees. They're not the best cards, but there's different levels. As you level up, you get better accounts. But just know the difference, because if you have bad credit, these list of cards, if you want those, are the cards that you're going to qualify for. Again, there are alternatives like Ava and like Kickoff. Those report as $2,500 credit card accounts, a total of $5,000. They can help your utilization. And as long as you pay what you owe for the accounts every month or the balance, you're perfectly fine. Just set up auto pay. Those accounts will also help if you don't want to use any one of these because you don't want to pay an annual fee or you don't want to have high interest. For those of you with no credit, you want to use the Discover It, Capital One Platinum, Pedal 2 Visa, the Citi Secured MasterCard, Capital One Quicksilver Card, Capital One Platinum, the secured version or unsecured, Chase Freedom, the student card, the Self Secured Card, Chime Credit Builder, or any credit cards from your local bank or your credit union. So pretty much for, as you can see, like starter cards are very different than subprime cards. So you don't want to waste a hard inquiry trying to get these starter cards when you're rebuilding because there's a good chance you'll get denied. You're better off looking at the subprime cards and you'll get approved. If you're new to credit, you want to avoid the subprime cards because why pay the annual fees or get the extra high interest if you don't have to? Go with the credit cards that are for new credit. You'll have a better chance of getting approved, and you'll get better rates. All right. And again, those are things that you need to know the difference of that they won't teach us. Subprime cards, starter cards, and then you could do more research on other cards or credit builders, apps and things of that nature. And number 10 for your short-term installment. These are my recommendations. You can use Self. You can use, if you're a member of Navy Federal Credit Union, the Pledge Loan. Chime has a credit builder. There are furniture accounts that you can get. Like, for example, I'm trying to think of one of those, like, not Ashley Furniture, but there are furniture stores that you'll get a card in the mail. And they'll give you like a certain amount of time to pay it off. And it reports to the credit bureaus. That's basically the same as a short-term installment loan or any other loan under 36 months. You want to I think even a firm has that. A firm has that when you buy things. But you want to make sure that it's something where it's going to be up to 36 months, maybe 24 months, something a little bit longer. Not like something that's going to be like 3 or 4 months. Like that's kind of short. But Afterpay, Affirm, Klarna, if you're getting something where you can do that for like 24, 36 months, that's pretty good too. But those are easy installment loans that you can get that will help with your credit mix. Now, if you were to take all of these things that they never taught us and you were to do all of these things, you are going to have a great credit score. So, congratulations. You now have good credit based off of the things that they do not teach us in school. Now, here's a bonus tip for people who are rebuilding. If you're rebuilding, I have videos here that will teach you about removal. You want to check those out. I'll probably link them here. Please check those out. If you need help with budgeting your money, there's going to be a video here on how to budget your money and how to save. And that one's really, really good. I think that's one of my best videos. And again, these are definitely tips that you want to follow. If you learned something that you didn't know, please put it down in the comments. please let me know what it is that you didn't learn. If you have any additional information that you want to add, please comment that at the bottom. I always love learning, so please put that there, and it's good for the community. Let me know of any other videos you guys would like me to cover, and you have a wonderful day. Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. Today, we're going to be talking about the best credit cards for beginners, but we're also going to get into a little bit of credit card strategy, and I'm trying to think how to put this, the philosophy of credit cards. Not just that, but how they work. So I think it's important to not just give you some information on the best credit cards that are available for you for a beginner, and also seeing where you can go, but also getting the idea of how you should be using these cards in the long run. So if you're new to my channel, we talk about financial literacy. We talk about business strategy. We talk about just everything that's gonna increase your financial aptitude, and we try to do it in the most responsible way. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of all of the things that are around us as far as opportunities. So one of the most important things, and today I'm going to be talking about mostly personal credit cards. So when I'm speaking, I'm going to be speaking from a personal perspective, not necessarily a business perspective. So just keep that in mind. I'll probably reiterate that as we continue, because some of the things may sound contradictory if you've heard any of my previous videos. So we can just get right into it. I don't like to waste too much time. So credit, we've talked about credit a few times on this channel, and I just wanted to give more insight on that. If you're young, if you're under 18 and you're watching this video, you probably have heard things about credit cards. When I was a kid, I heard that credit cards were bad. I heard that, you should only use cash. Cash is king. If you have a credit card, that means you can't afford to pay for something, which if you're using it the wrong way, some of those things true, but some of those things are based in ignorance, just from having a lack of knowledge when it comes to how to utilize credit. So for an example, I want to put that here, that capitalism is built on credit. This entire economy is built on credit, the education system, the benefits that you have, Social Security, the military, everything's built on credit because capitalism is built on credit. An example of that, I wanted to use a couple of figures who everyone would be aware of. Steve Jobs, Apple, credit. Had to get a loan for that. Had to get investors for that. Elon Musk with Tesla, same thing. When Elon Musk bought Twitter, he bought Twitter with credit. Jeff Bezos, same thing. You got to understand that the wealthiest of the wealthy people, they leverage credit in order for them to become who they are. They didn't start out, billionaires. They had to work their way up, and credit, in essence, was the vehicle to allow them to get to the position that they are now. Now, I'm not saying you need to worry about being the wealthiest person in the world. You just want to make sure that you're using your credit cards the proper way. This is just an example. It's an extreme example, but nonetheless, it's so extreme. I want you to understand that even the most successful people had to somehow use credit to a degree in order to get to where they are. And we've talked about this again, but I want to give you a simple example. And this is how credit works. And this is how credit is looked at in terms of credit cards. So if I lend you $10, I'll say, hey, $10, I'll let you borrow it. At a later date, you're going to give me $12. The $2, that difference, usually is interest. We'll call that interest. Now, if you pay me back on time, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell other people that you're really good at paying back. Oh, if he asks you to borrow money, yeah, man, he always pay back on time. I'll report that. And you'll get a score for it. They'll grade you on that. They say, yo, this guy pays back so well, we're going to give him the highest mark he could ever get, 850. Perfect. He always pays back. And if you don't pay me back, I'm going to warn people about you. I'm going to tell people, oh, he never paid me back that $10. Never. And since you didn't pay me back the $10 and I warned people, now we're going to grade you. But now your score is 500. So now other people can pull that score and they can say, well, that guy's a 500. You can't lend to him. Clearly he doesn't pay back. Or he has no experience when it comes to paying back debt. And that's basically it. That's credit in a nutshell. Hopefully that was the simplest example I feel like you could make. And while it is, it's rudimentary, I get it, it's basic, but the principle still applies. So when you're thinking about credit cards, just know that you're being graded on how often you pay people back, right? That's as simplistic as we're going to get. Now, if you pay back your credit cards on time, you don't have to pay interest. I want to preface this by saying that credit cards have one of the most predatory interest rates imaginable. Understand, credit cards, if you use them incorrectly, can be horrible for you, but they also can be great. Credit cards, like people, aren't inherently bad. The decisions you make kind of determine how you're going to see this, and it's relative, basically. So for people who told me when I was a kid that credit cards were bad, the credit card wasn't bad. The decisions they may have made with the credit cards may have been bad, or they may have been put into a position where they had no choice but to use credit cards for debt. They were spending more money than what they had, and they put it on the credit card. Now, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10 for most people when they're doing this, it's usually not because they had to survive. It's usually because they spent it frivolously. Usually. I'm not saying that's always what happens, but if we're being self-critical and we're being honest, we know a lot of times we did things that we shouldn't have done. I've done it myself plenty of times. I can't think of a time that I've been in credit card debt where it wasn't something that I could have avoided if I wanted to. I could have. I just chose not to. If we're being self-critical. So even though credit cards have some of the most highest interest rates you could possibly get, they're also one of the only credit products where you don't have to pay interest. If you don't carry a balance on a credit card, you don't have to pay interest. So it doesn't matter if my interest rate was 150% interest. If I pay that back within my cycle date, I don't have to pay it. And that's a fact, right? So you can make money from your credit cards. I talked about that a lot. As of late, you can make money from your credit cards. You can get rewards. And this is made possible through the act of borrowing the bank's money and paying it back on time. Before I get into redemption, I want to talk about how this process works, because I'm sure that you're thinking, so I just get a credit card, spend money on my credit card, or, make purchases and pay my credit card back, and banks will pay me money for it. Sounds too good to be true, right? Sounds weird. Well, this is how it works behind the scenes. Have you ever been to a place that says cash only? Cash only? And you're wondering why it's just cash only? When you pay with a credit card, like if you go to my website and you make a purchase, you're not giving your money directly to me. You have to go through a merchant. I use Stripe. When you pay me, you know what happens? Stripe takes a percentage. They take about usually on average 1 to 2%. So whatever I make, someone else takes a cut of that. They take that to process that transaction, which means for you to have the convenience of paying with the card to pay me, I'm paying the convenience to the merchant. And guess who the merchant has to pay? The merchant has to pay the bank. The bank gets their money back from me, usually with an annual fee. And then they reward me because I've technically already paid them by giving me those rewards. I only get those rewards by spending more money. And you see how that's an ecosystem. The more money I spend, the more money that merchant gets, because they're taking 1 to 2% of my money. Then they have to pay the bank, the merchant. So they're getting paid. I'm paying an annual fee. And then they're rewarding me with cash back or points to get me to spend more money. It's an ecosystem where everybody's getting paid. Everyone's making money, right? Or that's how it's supposed to work. Now, if you don't have an annual fee, which when we go over a couple of credit cards, you'll notice how when you don't have an annual fee, you have really high interest. Usually those are the credit rebuilder cards or the starter cards. Your interest rate is high because they're also going to make money off of interest. Interest pays more banks money than probably anything else because they make a lot of money off of subprime lenders, which is why, in my belief, I believe they like to create subprime lenders. That's the reason why it's so easy to get into bad credit. It's so easy to get into debt. It's very easy. It's easy to maintain once you understand how it works. But one mistake, one late payment could drop you 100 points. Again, I think subprime lenders make more money than prime lenders do. All right. So let's talk about redemption for credit cards. When you redeem credit card rewards for points, you get more value. So, for example, and this should be really easy. Let's say that you have a travel card. Your travel card probably is going to give you points every time you spend. Let's say you got 100 points, right? If you were to redeem your points for a travel credit, they'll probably give you 10 cents for every point. 10 cents for every point. But let's say you wanted to redeem that for cash back, money you could put right into your account. You'll probably get 1 cent per point. So you actually get more value when you redeem for points than you do for cash back. So points redemption usually have a greater cash value, but you can't redeem them for actual cash. While cash back, it can go right into your bank account. Now, we know cash is universal, so it could be used everywhere. But what you can do is, if you're going to redeem something, like let's say you were going to go see your family for the holidays and you knew you were going to pay $1,000 for that ticket. Well, now, if I was going to pay $1,000 for that ticket anyway, I could just redeem it for points. Then I can just take the cash and keep it myself or put it somewhere, which is what I would do, like save it, because in actuality, technically, I was able to get this flight for free. So now I can take this $1,000 and I can go put it somewhere where it's going to grow. For me, that makes a lot of sense, because for somebody else, they're thinking, oh, but you took the 1,000. But in actuality, you got a free flight. It's free. It's already paid for. You were going to spend that money anyway. Why not then take that money and put it somewhere where it could grow? You didn't lose it. Your money's somewhere else, like in a stock investment, growing. That's how I see it. That's how I treat redemption and cashback, because I'm always looking at how to grow my money and have my money make more money for me. Investing is key, but that's a separate video. Anyway, I just wanted to emphasize the difference between cashback and points. And the reason why I want to do this is because this information will become relevant later. And it's something that you need to know, because I'm sure you're thinking, what does this have to do with beginner credit cards? I'm sure it sounds weird, and most people wouldn't do this for a beginner credit card video. They're just going to show you a couple of cards that you could get if your credit score is a 640. But what I want you to really understand is what you're trying to accomplish when you get these cards and where you can go after you get these starter cards. Okay? So there are different types of rewards. I have a few examples here from some of the top banks. For Chase, they have the ultimate reward points. Citibank has thank you reward points. Capital One uses miles instead of points. And these are just a few examples, but there are different cards of different affinities, of different co-brands that have different things that you can redeem for. Usually it's points to purchase a service or something of that nature, or it's cash back, one or the other for the most part. So at the end of the day, if you're trying to calculate how much points are worth, for a majority of the time, I found this to be the easiest way for a majority, especially the cards that we're going to talk about. Take off 2 zeros, for example. If you have 120,000 points, take off 2 zeros from that 120,000, and it's usually going to equal $1,200 in cash value. And again, when you have points and I say it's cash value, you could probably use this as a statement credit. So if you had a credit card bill that was $2,000, you could redeem the statement credit and apply $1,200 to your statement. So it has a cash value, but it's not actually cash. Okay. And to redeem it as cash, sometimes these same things apply, but it can vary throughout industries, throughout credit card types, throughout the bank that you're looking at. All right. And I jumped the gun here, but again, what does this have to do with beginner credit cards? And I want you to look at credit cards in a way where you get something back instead of a high interest loan. Like I was saying at the beginning, when people told me that credit cards were bad, the thing is they were using credit cards like loans. They were buying things that they couldn't afford and trying to pay them back later. But when you use a credit card like that, you have to pay interest, which means you have to pay more than what you spent. So the missing piece there was not that credit cards are bad inherently, but there's bad behavior when using them. You should use credit cards like they're debit cards. You should only use a credit card to buy things that you can have in your bank account. Now, if you're young, you're 17, you're 18 years old, you're just getting your first job, you're not making that much money, and you're starting, yeah, you could probably use your credit card for your emergency, at first. But after a while, you're going to have to learn how to set a little cash reserve aside. Now, use the credit card to only pay for things you're going to pay for anyway. Your food, your gas, your bills, things you are already going to pay for, not for a Gucci bag or something that's like $10,000, $15,000 and you got $100 in your bank account. That doesn't make sense. So you can pay it off over the course of 12 months. No, that's not what that's the part that is missed. That's where we get lost in translation. So what I really want to get from this is for you to look at credit cards as a way to make money. A way to make money. Credit cards can make you money. Again, this isn't business talk. I'm not talking about buying inventory. This is personally. You could make money by just going to Sam's Club and buying groceries, by going to Costco, by going to Apple and buying a product you're going to buy anyway. You can make money from doing that. That's the point I want to drive home. But you don't buy things that you can't afford. You don't buy if you spend $1,000 on something, there better be $1,000 in your bank account. If it's not there, don't buy it on the credit card. You keep that principle, you'll never go wrong. So again, credit cards have some of the highest interest rates when it comes to borrowing money. However, they're one of the only lending products where you don't have to pay interest, and how you use them will determine how well they serve you. And if you get into the habit of looking at credit cards as a way to make money, it will change the way that you use them. Okay. This is another thing I want you to understand, especially when you start to get good credit cards that have high rewards. The people who pay interest fund the rewards. So like I was telling you, there's an ecosystem of how money is made, right? But for a lot of no annual fee cards where you're like, oh, they didn't have to pay. Look at their interest rate. Banks make money off of interest. So in turn, they make money off the people who use credit cards as high interest loans. Banks then use the money from the high interest loans to support their reward programs to give back to people who pay them on time, encouraging them to spend more and earn something for it. Just think about that. When you're paying interest, you're a part of the group that's not only funding this financial institution, but they're also keeping the programs alive that reward the people who aren't paying interest. So you got to just pick a side of where you want to stand in this. And again, this isn't always black and white because sometimes emergencies do come up. Let's be, let's be realistic, but we can also call a spade a spade. Whenever I think of examples of people who had problems with credit cards, it was usually something that they did. I saw it. It wasn't like not which there. This is, it could be a real example. It wasn't the guy who lost his job, didn't have a savings account, and then he had to use credit cards to survive. Even though that happens a lot, and I've seen it because I've worked at three different banks. So I've seen it. I've heard every story. I've seen them all. I've seen them more times than I would like. So understanding that things do happen, but also I've seen it a lot. And when people work at the banks and you speak with them or you call, they can see your transactions. They see what you spent it on. And you can see the pattern. You can literally see all the patterns of how people spend money. I could look at someone's transactions and figure out exactly what occurred. Your transactions paint pictures, which if you go into your bank statement and look at your bank statement, you can look at someone almost and see where their values lie based off of their statement. So I would just keep that in mind. When you do get a credit card and you have access to $25,000, $50,000, that money or that line of credit is just a high interest loan. And if you can't afford to pay it back, it could be very nasty, which, a lot of us know. I know, especially. So let's finally get into the credit cards. Let's finally start talking about the cards. I want to talk about the main four issuers. When I'm saying the main four issuers, when we talk about credit cards, eventually you're going to want to climb that credit card tier ladder, right? You're going to want to get the cards that serve you the best. I believe that these four banks are going to have with credit cards. If you were to watch anybody's videos on YouTube, these are going to be the main four banks that at some point everybody comes to because they end up having the best products. Everyone's going to come to one of these banks. Everyone. I am almost assured of that. So that's going to be American Express. It's going to be Chase. It's going to be Capital One, Citibank. If you talk to anybody who is really good with credit cards or credit card rewards, personal credit cards, I could almost guarantee they have one of these banks. Guaranteed. So that's why, I'm talking about these four banks in particular as being very good bank credit cards, especially to start and climb the credit card tier ladder and for the future when you get these really excellent elite credit cards. Now, here are some other cards. While they are good, those other four banks are a priority. But these are other cards. Banks and credit unions like U.S. Bank, Navy Federal Credit Union, and Bank of America. And again, I'm just giving you examples here. There's definitely other banks that you could go to that aren't as major, but I'm thinking national scale. And, I didn't really put Wells Fargo because I don't really like their credit card products that much. But that's also one. There are a lot of other places. But again, I'm just giving you a few examples. There's store cards. There's Apple. There's Amazon. There's Citi. There's Sam's Club. The reason why I mention those is because I believe anyone watching this video has probably spent money with one of these people. How do I know? The percentage of people that are Apple users that have iPhones, high percentage, right? A lot of people have iPhones. Amazon, it's the largest e-commerce platform in the world. Chances are you bought something off of Amazon at least once. I think they had a statistic where the average person spends at least $1,000 on Amazon in a year. The average person. City, when you're buying things in bulk, it just makes sense. Sam's Club, I'm including them because they're also affiliated with Walmart, of course. So if you are in any major city, then you probably have been to a Sam's Club, a Walmart. You've probably been to a Costco. That it's a safe bet. All right. Now let's talk about level 1. These are, if this was a building and we're trying to get to the top floor on level 1, this is where we're starting. We're starting with secured credit cards. We're starting with, and again, there's a bunch of them, but I just want to use these as an example. We're starting with Capital One. We're starting with Discover It. We're starting with Open Sky, which Open Sky isn't like a major bank, but it's a secured credit card that you could get with no hard inquiry. Okay. Now, what are secured cards? If you are unaware, a secured card is where you need to give up collateral in order to get a credit line. So you're going to give a bank, let's say $200. They're going to give you a line of credit for $200. And you're going to use that as a credit card. 99% of people get approved for secured cards. Why? It's no risk. You gave up the money as collateral to have the credit line to prove to this bank that you can pay responsibly. So most people get approved unless they may have had like a prior negative history with that financial institution. Then you may get denied. But for the most part, even if you've done that, you still get approved for a secured credit card. They're good for credit building. They're good for rebuilding credit. The deposit's also refundable. So this is the Capital One Quicksilver. A lot of you may or may not have seen this card before, but even for this secure card, you can earn 1.5% cash back on everyday purchases. It's actually not that bad. I mean, for everyday cash back, like across the field, a great one would be 2%. So that's not bad at all. And they tell you right there that the $200 minimum deposit is refundable and you can get pre-approved with no risk. Now, if you notice one thing right here, look at that APR. It's 29.99% variable APR. Very high. Very high. Basically, if you carry a balance over on this card, they're going to make basically 30%. In our example with the $10 and you pay me back $2, that'd be 20%. This is, I gave you $10 and you gave me back $3. This is, this is, you know, really high. That's very, very high. That's, I gave you $1,000 and you got to give me back $1,300. That is a high APR. So you got to be careful with that. But even with that being said, as long as it's used responsibly, it can be okay. But you can also see how it can go bad really quick. You can look here and that can go bad if used the wrong way. And that interest could add up quick. So just be aware. But you'll see most secure cards will have very similar rewards, annual fees, interest rate. They'll all be very similar. So you just have to pick the one that works best for you, depending on what you're doing in the state that you're currently in. Not state like, but the type of well-being that you may or may be in. Now we can move on to level 2. Now level 2, this is what I would say is like a beginner card. A beginner where it's unsecured. Remember, a secured card, you have to give a deposit. The beginner is unsecured, which most credit cards, well, all credit cards really are unsecured for the most part. The secured card is where you have to give a deposit for your limit, but every other type of credit card is always unsecured. So the Chase Freedom and the Chase Freedom Unlimited are good. Very, very good beginner cards. Bank of America Cash Rewards, pretty good card. Pretty good rewards. Citibank Double Cash, another really good one. And I would even say not the, and this right here was a mistake. Not the American Express Gold, the American Express, the Amex Everyday. That was a typo. Apologize for that. But the Amex Everyday is a good card. So as you can see here, when you're looking at this beginner cards usually have welcome bonuses. So as you can see, the APR is based on a variable. You remember the other one was 29.99%. This one can range from 20.49% to 29.24%. A little bit better. You've almost dropped by 10% depending on where you are. You also have 0% APR for 15 months. That means for 15 months, you can pay the minimum payment on this credit card and you won't accrue interest. Be careful. That is nice, but be careful. Be very, very careful, because that, you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So you want to always be careful when you have those types of things, because you got to use it responsibly. That can get you into a hole. The 15 months will go by fast. Earn a $200 bonus. So you earn a $200 bonus after you spend $500 on purchases in the first 3 months of account opening. So this is what I'm talking about. Here's a way for you to make a little bit of money from opening this credit card. You spend $500, you pay some bills, you get back $200. Now, if you use this card for dining at restaurants and takeout, you can get 3% cash back. That's pretty cool. If you use it at drugstores, 3% cash back. You can earn 5% on travel purchases through Chase Travel. Okay. And then you get 1.5% back on all other purchases. Cashback rewards don't expire. It's no annual fee. And I'm sure that somewhere here, because I don't see the terms and conditions, but I'm not going to go into it. Somewhere here, I'm sure that this is limited to a certain amount. It caps out. Like, for example, you can probably get 3% cash back to a certain amount of money. And then after that, oh, here it is. Since I'm already here, I might as well look for it. So right here, 5% rewards on each purchase, 3.5% cash back. There's some type of Lyft reward bonus that you could get right there. Well, just the me briefly going through this, I didn't see anything, but how a lot of credit cards work, they'll let you get to a certain dollar amount, sometimes per year, sometimes per quarter. And then after that, it'll cap out. I'm not going to read the entire rewards program, but if you want to check out the Chase Freedom Unlimited, then you can, and you can take a look at if there are any caps on the rewards. But this is just an idea of a good starter card. Now, since I did have a typo, I thought it's only right to show you the Amex card I was talking about. That's a good beginner American Express. That would be the Amex Everyday Preferred credit card. Now, this credit card does have an annual fee of $95, but keep in mind, anytime there's an annual fee, you probably have pretty good rewards. Now, there's 0% APR on this one as well on purchases and balance transfers for 12 months from the date of account opening, then a variable APR of 18.24% to 28.24%. So the APR dropped at its lowest 2% than the Chase Freedom. And And you can get 3x points on grocery stores. That's at US supermarkets up to 6,000 per year. You get 2x points on gas stations and 1x points. Then American Express has a lot of additional benefits and rewards that you can also check out. But there's another welcome bonus that's pretty good, that pretty much covers the annual fee. So you earn 15,000 membership reward points after you spend $2,000 in eligible purchases on your Amex Everyday Preferred credit card within the first 6 months. So, hey, if your bills are $1,000, or I'm sure they're more than that, but if you can spend $1,000 a month on this card for 2 months, you'll then get $2,000. You'll then get $15,000 back in points. So that is nice. Again, that basically covers your annual fee right there. And then you also are able to earn some really good reward points. So if you're spending a lot of money in grocery stores, gas stations, which I'm sure all of us are, this might be a really good card for you. A couple of other things. If you're looking at these beginner cards, you're looking at Chase. Chase prefers applicants with some account history, meaning you have a bank account with them, checking, savings, direct deposit, some of their other services. They're really good about, loyalty and building that relationship. So you want to do that. Bank of America cash rewards cards, very friendly. Citibank as well. Amex is definitely new customer friendly with higher approval rates. I believe that Amex doesn't really lean on their checking and savings accounts per se. So I think that's why they're a little bit friendly. Chase is accepted 99% because it's a Visa affinity card. American Express is accepted less. That's why I would never just carry an American Express with me, because there are some places that don't take American Express. So you want to be careful. And I would say these credit cards require a score of at least a 650. I would say, if you can help it, no derogatory marks, no collections, no late payments, anything like that. 650 credit score should get your foot in the door for a few of these cards. And this is just from some research that I've done. If these are subject to change, it depends on the credit card issuer. It depends on the bank. It depends on the economy. A lot of things could change. Sometimes with like higher interest rates, if we're going through a process of like quantitative easing, you may see that they're a little bit more tight with giving away credit. But if we're in an economy where money is being given at low interest rates, then you'll probably see that it's a lot more lax. And then you start to get more approvals, higher limits. So it depends on what's going on sometimes, but I would say this is actually a good starting point if you are doing this. So level 3 cards, these are mid-tier credit cards. That would be the Chase Sapphire Preferred, the Capital One Venture, the World Hyatt, and the American Express Gold. Now, these are cards that are going to more than likely have an annual fee. They're going to have an annual fee, but they're going to offer a lot of other promotional offers, some services like, if you spend a certain amount on them, they may reimburse you something for a particular item. They'll have warranties and guarantees for maybe, cell phone protection, things like that. But let's look at the Chase Sapphire Preferred. So you can earn 60,000 bonus points after you spend $4,000 on purchases in the first 3 months. That is pretty cool. That's $750 towards travel when redeemed through Chase Travel. And then right here, they let you know over 150 in additional partnerships and benefits. And then you can go there and you can check it out and see what other partnerships and benefits that they have. But you can earn a $50 statement credit each account anniversary year for hotel stays purchased through Chase Travel. Earn 5x total points on travel through Chase Travel, excluding hotel purchases. You earn 2x points on travel. You earn 3x points on dining, including delivery services and takeout. You earn 3x points on grocery stores purchases like Target, Walmart, wholesale clubs. I'm sorry, excluding, let me rephrase that, excluding Target, Walmart, and wholesale clubs, which makes sense because there are also other branded cards that go with like Walmart or Target. Let me also say that if you're looking at this video, I have no preference to Chase or American Express or any particular bank. And as you're watching this, know that there may be a card, like there's a MasterCard for Instacart. You have to look at your life and you have to determine which one of these are best for you. But as I've done research, I found out the 3% cash back, 2x points, this, that, a lot of them end up being the same for the most part. So I have a video that I've made already that may or may not be out before this video. But in that video, I talk about all the cards that I got and how like I get 5% back on gas. I get 5% back here because I spend here. I get 5% back here because I do this. I get 4% back here because I do that. I made the best cards for me. There's a Walmart card that you could get with Capital One that gives you 5% back on Walmart.com. If you do Walmart.com orders, you might want that card. If you do Sam's Club orders, you might want the Sam's Club MasterCard. You got to pick the one that works best for you. So while I'm giving you these examples, just know that there are plenty more that I am not covering. I just want to cover the ones that, again, at some point, I feel like if we're looking at the four main issuing banks, you're going to eventually, as you climb that credit card tier ladder, you're going to come across these at some point. That's what I do know. At some point, you will probably want one of these. Okay. So, yeah, $95 annual fee, 21.49% APR variable. That's the lowest. It can, again, it depends on your credit and it adjusts. And, yeah, when you go through these, you'll start finding things that make sense for you. No foreign transaction fee, travel and purchase coverage. Again, you're looking at this card. If you travel a lot, this is a card that you probably would use. There are cards that you could use primarily for travel points. There are cards that you could use primarily for cash back. It just depends on what you're doing. All right, just depends on what you're doing. Now, this is a card that I personally have, but on the business side, but the rewards and everything is pretty much the exact same. It does have a higher annual fee. On the American Express Gold Personal, the annual fee is $250. On the American Express Gold Business, it's $395. And I know because they just hit me with it. But I also had a bigger reward bonus, an introductory one. So you earn 60,000 membership points after you spend $6,000 on your new card in the first 6 months. So pretty cool. If you spend at least $1,000 a month on this card in 6 months, you'll be able to earn that 60,000 points, which should have a cash value of $600, which would then pretty much cover that annual fee. You know, so you'll always make more money with using these cards properly than you will by spending, you know, on the annual fee. Now you get 4x at restaurants worldwide. This is one of the main reasons why I got this card. Mine is still 4x here. I don't get 4x at grocery stores, but I do have 3x on travel and 1x on all other purchases. This card has a APR for paying over time. Now, for American Express, this is a charge card. And what I mean by that is a charge card doesn't have a revolving balance. It needs to be paid in full on time. But what I've learned is there's a feature called pay over time. Pay over time isn't your credit limit, but it is the amount that they'll allow you to carry over and pay with interest. Now, for the American Express Gold Business that I have, it's $75,000. I can carry over $75,000. I have a spending power of over $50,000, but American Express is a little different. They have flexible limits. They have no limit. There is no limit on this card. You can put in how much you would like to spend on like a single transaction. And I've seen mine go as high as like 50,000 plus thus far. So if I needed to spend that all in one transaction, I can, but we also got to keep in mind who's going to be spending $50,000 on a single transaction if you're a regular everyday person. So that's a business card. This is a personal card. So let's keep it personal. We're spending this at restaurants and grocery stores and flights. I don't think you're going to have a 50K dinner. So spending power may not necessarily matter, but know that there's no credit limit on this card. The credit limit is a flexible one, and you also have pay over time. But with a charge card, you should be paying it in full every single month. You get a $120 dining credit, which if you enroll, you earn up to $10 per statement with an annual savings of $120. You also get $120 in Uber Cash. Get a $100 experience credit with a 2-night minimum stay when you book a hotel through American Express Travel, and no foreign transaction fees, which I used to travel out the country a lot, like almost like once a month for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. So I could tell you that not having a foreign transaction fee is awesome. When you go somewhere and you spend it and you see that they're charging you for the currency exchange. Like if you went from the dollar to the peso, or you went from the dollar to the Canadian dollar, or you went from the dollar to the euro, some cards have a fee for that when they have to exchange the currency. Oh, all right, weird. But you don't have to do that on this card. So again, while some of these things seem like small, when you start to do other things, you'll start to notice like, oh, good thing I have that. Like that comes in handy, you know, especially if you travel a lot. And then there's additional services, send and split, card membership fees, additional cards that you can add for others, the year-end summary, which is definitely good if you want to, you know, keep track of things that you can, you know, add to taxes for write-offs. But yeah, pretty good card once we get into that level 3, that mid-tier level. And for these cards, they're going to require probably a 700 credit score. Now, level 4 is going to be the elite tier cards, elite tier credit cards. That's going to be the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the Capital One Venture X, which just like the American Express Gold has no limit. It's a flexible limit, I believe. The American Express Platinum, the Hilton Honors, and let's look at the Chase Sapphire Reserve. So with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you have a 60,000 bonus point offer after you spend $4,000 of account opening. That's $900 towards travel when you redeem through Chase Travel. And you get 5x points on travel flights, 10x points on hotels and car rentals when you purchase travel through Chase Travel after the first $300 is spent on travel purchases annually. It's pretty cool. APR can range from 22.49% to 29.49% with an annual fee of $550. And then it's $75 for each authorized user. Now, when you're looking at this card, depending on where you are, may or may not make sense for you. But if you travel a lot and you're spending a lot of money on travel, again, the annual fee seems high, right? But you have to look at what benefits you get from it. $1,000 in additional partnership benefit values, 300 annual travel credit, right? More ways to earn 5x points, earn 10x points on hotels. That's a pretty big one. 10x points, complimentary lounge access to over 1,300 plus airport lounges with up to 2 guests, plus every Chase Sapphire lounge by club. You get global entry. That's a thing that when you travel a lot is really awesome. You can go through global entry is the same thing as TSA pre-check, or the same thing as like clear, where you don't have to do you don't have to stand in line and go walk through you can go through here through the pre-check line. You get through faster. If you travel a lot and you're tired, you're fatigued, you just want to just get to your gate. Maybe you're in a hurry, you're in a rush. That pre-check does come in handy, except if you get there too early, because I've noticed in Vegas, even if you have it, if it's like 5 a.m, the pre-check is closed. So it's like, oh, well, if I'm early, then I can't use the pre-check. That's my one gripe. I don't like that, but yeah, I like to get in there early when it's empty. But subsequently, if you get there and it's empty, no TSA pre-check. So 1-to-1 point transfer. You get premium travel benefits, partner benefits, Chase Pay over time. So the same thing that you have, right? Chase Pay over time lets eligible Chase customers break up credit card purchases into budget-friendly payments. There are 2 potential ways to pay over time. After purchase, pay off an eligible purchase you've already made of 100 or more in smaller equal monthly payments. There's at checkout. Chase credit card members may have the option to create a payment plan at checkout on Amazon.com orders totaling $50 or more. So those are just a few other options that you have in mind. There's a spend instantly option. Apply for a card. You can use it the same day, adding it to your Apple Wallet. Purchase coverages. Again, you have the protection of if you have a new purchase, it'll be covered for 120 days against damage or theft up to $10,000 per claim. So think about that. Yes, your annual fee is $550, but if I were to purchase something on my credit card that was $5,000 to $10,000, they'll reimburse me for that thing. That's pretty cool. That's a lot of value. Return protection. You can be reimbursed for eligible items that the store won't take back for 90 days of purchase, up to $500 per item. So if you had something that you wanted to return to a store and they said you're out the 30-day window, you can get reimbursed here. Those are just a couple of things. Extended warranty that, when you start looking at the benefits of something, depending on, again, where you are in your life, these may be really, really good benefits. And as you can see, they have a value already that covers that $550, but only if this is conducive to your lifestyle. Does that make sense? American Express Platinum is a similar way. 80,000 member rewards after you spend $8,000 on your new card in the first 6 months, 29.49% to 29.24% variable APR, a $695 annual fee, $200 hotel credit, $240 digital entertainment credit, a $155 Walmart Plus credit, global lounge collection. So, a lot of people do love that American Express global lounge entry, $200 airline fee credit per calendar year, $200 Uber Eats cash. So as you can see, $189 Clear Plus, $300 Equinox credit, global dining access, 5x points on flights. 5x on prepaid hotels if you book on Amex Travel, 1x points on everything else. So you're gonna get a lot of benefits with this card, especially travel. It starts to make me wonder, what's the point of the Delta Sky mile cards? I guess if you fly Delta often, then that might be like a really good thing. But yeah. So again, I wanna just make sure that we understand. I'm showing you the elite tier credit cards because I want to make a comparison to the benefits that you get from the card. Now, a lot of the elite tier ones, they usually have these type of benefits. Miles, points, rewards, credits, etc. I think as you get higher, they stop doing as much cash back and they do more point and redemption value. But again, the way that I use credit cards, if I were to get cash back, I mean, not cash back, but points or rewards, I just reimburse myself with cash. And then I just pocket that, because the way I see it, I'm never going to use anything on my credit card that I wasn't going to already spend. So if I was already going to spend that on a flight or a hotel, but yet I have a credit that covers it, well, guess what? I was going to spend that anyway. I'm taking that money from myself and say, hey, this is going to go over here into our investment pile or our Roth IRA or wherever else, and it's going to make us money. It's not lost. It's not gone. It's not spent. It's right over here. I can open up my phone and see it. It's over there growing. So it's not lost. It's just being moved somewhere where it can grow. Now at this point, if you wanted me to make a video where I go over like different store cards, Apple, Walmart, Costco, Instacart, there's literally a partnership card that could go with everything. But if you ask me, when you get to the benefits of like points and cash back for grocery stores, for dining, for those are the things that normal people are doing with their personal credit cards. You're paying bills, you're eating out, potentially you might be traveling a few times a year, things of that nature, and now you're being reimbursed for it by using your card responsibly. I do think these cards are applicable to a lot of people, a majority of people, I would say. So if you want to make a video for specific cards that do specific cash back for specific things, then I can do that as well. Again, I have another video with how I've been using my cards, and it basically breaks down how I can make anywhere between $5,000 to $7,000 off of my cards per year based off of the plan that I made. So if you're watching this video and that video hasn't come out yet, then I'll probably link it. Maybe I'll link it here. It may not be that you may not see a link right here yet because I haven't put it out yet. But if I did, then I'll link it here so you can watch that. Now, this is just level 5. Level 5 credit cards are normally invitation only credit cards. So you can't apply for them, but you can kind of learn a little bit about them and how maybe you can be qualified to actually get one. But this is a invitation only, and I did the American Express Black. Now, if you're reading a review of the Centurion card from American Express, that's the American Express Black, it's probably not for you. First of all, you can't apply for the card. You need to be invited, and the unique characteristics of the card, also known as the Black Card, both in price perks, are like no other. If you're in the select group that can apply for the card, even if the cost / benefit analysis doesn't make sense, you might get it just because you're one of the elite few who can. And this is just, to me, like just fun, because if you're spending, I'm sure if you're spending a certain amount of money with American Express and you probably have their gold or platinum cards, you could probably get this card. I would say that if you really, I haven't done that much research. If you really wanted to get a card like this, you could, I mean, this is probably like way far, but if you wanted to get a card like this, you could probably read Reddit forums, maybe FICO, my FICO groups. People online have this card and they'll tell you the criteria that they needed. And from that information, you can take it and compile it into a list and say, based off of what I've read, you need to do this if you want to get this card. And I would say this card would be more of a status symbol than anything else. That would be the big thing, is that you can get it. But welcome bonus, they don't have an answer. Annual fee, $5,000. APR, terms. Credit score, excellent. I would say you at least would have to have a 780 to 800, maybe something of that nature, maybe 750. I don't know. I think it's more determined on how much you spend. So pros, it's exclusivity. It's a status symbol. Only a small or handful of people can obtain this. Membership rewards are versatile and easy to redeem. There's concierge service that goes beyond the norm. Perks that could help negate the fees. It's invite only. It's a hefty invitation fee. Ultra high annual fee required for authorized users. No bonus categories. So they really don't have that much information on here. There's an exclusive retail benefit including up to $250 per quarter in Saks Fifth Avenue credits. You get $250 to spend at Saks Fifth every quarter. So that's what possibly a great value for you if you shop at Saks Fifth. If you shop at Saks Fifth very often. Complimentary elevation to elite status levels at several of the world's largest travel brands, including the IHG Platinum Elite, Hilton Honors, Diamond, so on and so forth. So I just wanted to just give that just as a for fun example of something that you could probably get if you get to the very, 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 very top of the 1%. And then you can say that I watched Steven's video and I watched that, and then I got the American Express Black Card, and then just shout me out because you're probably a deca millionaire, about to be a billionaire. So just remember me. All right, bonus level. This is just bonus, but I'm not going to go into it because I already made a video about this. This is my bag. Bonus level is business credit cards, Amex Gold Business, Amex Platinum Business, Chink Business Inc. I like this because, one, it doesn't show up on your personal credit. It doesn't affect your utilization. If you know about the Chase 524 rule, you can only have 5 credit card products in 24 months. This isn't affected by that rule. I have 2 of the credit cards already on this list. I have the Amex Gold Business. I also have the Chase Business Inc. card, which gives you 5% cash back on like your phone bill, internet cable, that type of stuff. Love that. I'm literally gonna use the card really probably to pay that type of bill, get the cash back on there. I think that's great. Good reward, 0% APR for 12 months on that one. Amex Gold right now, my favorite card, I would have to say. Definitely love that card. I was looking for my wallet, but it's okay, I can't find it. Yeah. So to me, these are just bonuses because you can have these in conjunction with the personal credit cards, but they're like phantom cards. They don't show up here. You get higher limits for them. I think that the business ones are the way to go. So just know that I feel like if you look at like the high tier, I feel like there's that high tier, there's that elite, and right there somewhere floating in the middle is business credit cards. That's like where I see business credit cards. It's right there on the side. It's that level that you didn't even know that you could get to. Only a few of us knew about that one. But I'm just joking. Just wanted to just throw that in there just so that you're aware. Again, I do have that other video where I talk about the business credit cards and how I'm using them. But yeah, I really do like business credit cards probably more than any other personal. Now, if you apply for any of these credit cards that you've seen on this list, I just wanted to give you some information on reconsideration. If you're denied, I would call. Sometimes your denial is systematic based off of something that, you know, maybe it was a certain criteria. Like, for example, the Chase 524 rule, it shouldn't count if you're an authorized user on a card because technically it's not your card. Sometimes with their system, they'll look at that and say, oh, he's past that. You can call, have a person, real person, manually review your application. Now, if you have a low credit score, this may not help you. So I just want to make that clear. If you have a low credit score that doesn't meet the requirements, then this probably won't help you. But if you meet the requirements, but something like that were to happen, like with that rule, or maybe, you know, maybe you had a little higher utilization that month because you didn't pay the card down to like 5%, whatever the case may be, call the reconsideration line if it makes sense for you. Now, Chase, It's 1-800-945-2006. Press 0. Bank of America, 1-866-422-8089. American Express, 1-877-399-3083. Citibank, 1-888-201-4523. Just a couple of different options there on case. So just know that if you were denied and it didn't make sense, you have an option. The reconsideration line does work. I know. I've worked for a few banks. I've had to transfer people to the reconsideration line. Excuse me. Sat in on the calls. They've been approved. So it does work. It does work. Again, if you don't qualify as far as credit score, it's not going to work. Or sometimes derogatory marks, things like that, charge-offs may not work for you, even if you have a high credit score. Because I've had when I was in the low 700s with one single charge-off, I still couldn't get approved for anything. So just know that it weighs heavy. Not all the time, but weighs heavy. All right. A couple of tips for your money in choice categories. So if you get, again, I've talked about this throughout the video, but I just want to keep this in mind. If you get 5% or 5x points in like a restaurant category, only use that card at a restaurant. Use your card strategically in a way that makes sense for your lifestyle. I have the Amazon Prime business card. Why? I spend money on Amazon. Guess what? I get 5% back in points when I use that card. So now what I'm going to do is, if I get 5% back, I'm going to pay my card. I'm going to use the points as a statement credit, but I'm going to take whatever the statement credit is, and I'm going to pocket that money and put it somewhere where it could grow. Because for me, if my balance is $500 to pay on my credit card, but I have a statement credit of $25, yes, I'm going to pay $475 and redeem my statement credit, but I'm not just going to say, oh, yeah, I have $25 that I could spend. No. I'm going to take that $25. I'm going to set it aside now because I was going to spend it anyway. I was going to pay that bill. I basically got reimbursed it. I'm going to take it now and I'm going to put it somewhere where it could grow. And I did the same thing for me, for my girlfriend, so that way she can spend money on the card too. So we just are going to rack up nothing but cash back, and she's going to do the same thing. Whatever you spend, statement credit, give me that cash back. We're going to sit it here and we're going to use this for investments. So I believe if you do it like that, even if you were a person where you were in a situation where, let's say you were in a situation where all you could do is spend money on bills and it was so hard to save money. If you're a person who can spend $100,000 to $150,000 in a year, which some of us do, you can potentially get back $5,000 to $7,500 in cash back and points that you could reimburse yourself and save it. So even if you couldn't save, you could save, is what I'm saying. Like, you want to think outside the box, right? Start to use these credit cards to pay yourself money. Start to use them to invest. Start to use them so that, even when you thought that you couldn't do something, you figured out a way to do it. You know what I'm saying? Take it. Save that money. Set it to the side. If you have a great idea and you know it's going to work, maybe you want to start a YouTube channel, but you just want to get a camera and some equipment. Do that for the year. Buy all that stuff. Get to work. Start doing that thing that you really wanted to do. But just, use it responsibly. Use it responsibly. I think that is all I have for you guys. This was a much longer video than what I intended for it to actually be. I hope this information was useful. I do hope that at the very least, it possibly changed your outlook, your perception of credit. Maybe now credit doesn't look so scary. Maybe it looks exciting now. Maybe it looks like something that you realize you can turn it into an asset instead of a liability. That is my hope for this video. I really, truly, 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 at the bottom of my heart, hope that this gave you perspective. I truly, truly hope, if anything, that's the one thing that it did. And that would be, if this gave one person perspective, then this was worth it. I did my job, and I'm happy with that. I'm very, very happy with that. So with that being said, I released my no PG, no credit check Verizon phone line video yesterday. In that video, I mentioned people were talking about, I mentioned I could make other videos on like trading stock, teaching you how to do that, because I did that for a lot of years. ETFs, because I've been really big in the ETFs. Like a lot of these points that I'm getting, or a lot of the cash back I'm getting, they're going into my investment account, my investment brokerage account, or they're going into IRA. IRA maxes out at 6,000. So I'm like, 6,000. I want to do more than that. So I could do it all. And it's really cool to know that for money I was gonna spend anyway, I could max out my IRA, and I could also invest into my brokerage account with additional money. So it's just pretty awesome knowing that I have all these different options of doing things. And if that would interest you, again, this is a video more on the personal side, not for people that are, well, this could benefit everyone, whether you have a business or not. This can benefit you, but it was more for the personal side, the person who may not necessarily, they may not care about business credit. I've talked to a lot of people. When I do my one-on-one coachings, I like to ask people, what is their intention once their credit is repaired, once it's in an excellent status? What are they going to do? A lot of people are just looking to buy a home. So I may get into some content about first-time home purchases. So I may have to start doing research and digging into that. And that might be very beneficial for a lot of people. It might help a lot. So continue to comment and leave your suggestions here. If you have a new credit card that you just got and you apply for it, leave a comment with the rewards or the points or something. I like to make these videos hubs for information. So if people come to this video and they watch this video, I want them to be able to jump right into the comments, and I want there to be conversations, not just me, but everyone conversing about how we can help each other. So please make this channel, make each of these videos like little chat rooms. I want them to be hubs for education, for knowledge, for growth. That's what I really want. Make this a central location to gain information. Make this a resource for people. We did good work today. That's what it's about. We did good work. We did good work. I appreciate you for allowing me to do good work. Thank you so much. You have a great day. Welcome back to Success with Steven. Today, I'm making a video on a comment that suggested that we discuss this, and it's how to pay your credit card bill. And I'm going to try to give the simplest explanation that I can, just so that it's very easy to understand. So welcome back. I'm Steven Smith, and in this channel, we discuss finance tips, business strategies, and anything to help improve your financial literacy. One of the most important things that you definitely want to understand is your credit card bill, how that works, how your statement cycle date actually works, and the difference between your cycle close date, your billing due date, and everything in between. So we're going to jump into first talking about the breakdown of each of the important dates, and then I'm going to give you a easy to follow diagram, and then we'll take a look at one of my statements. All right, so let's get right into it. The first thing that we're going to discuss is your statement cycle. And again, we're going to make this very easy to explain, and watch all the way until the end, and it should make sense. So a credit card statement cycle is around a 1 month period. When you look at your credit card statement, it may be 28 days, 29, 30. It kind of ranges, but it's somewhere around 1 month. In between this period, you'll have your start date and then you'll have your close date. Your new transactions during this time will impact your next credit card bill. Whatever transactions you make in that cycle period will be due on your next payment due date. Now, when your statement is produced, it will show a statement balance that is calculated by taking the balance at the beginning of the billing cycle, adding all the new charges made during the cycle, and subtracting any payments that were made during that cycle. All right, so it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Again, when we get to the end, you're going to have a better understanding of how does that impact your credit score, how that increases your credit score, and how it could potentially decrease your credit score depending on when you pay, and of course the best time to pay during your cycle. All right, so the start date. This is the beginning of the statement cycle. All your transactions from this date to the close date will determine what you're paying next month for the due date. And the reporting date. This is the date which your card issuer will report your balance to the credit bureaus. So on this particular day, whatever your balance says is what gets reported to the bureaus. If the balance that you see on there is usually higher than 30%, it could negatively affect your credit score. My recommendation is always keeping it at 10% utilization. All right. Now, this reporting date can be anytime during the month, but it's best to assume that it'll be around the time of your statement closing date. Now, in my experience, I don't know if I've mentioned it on here, but I worked at 3 different banks. In my experience, usually the closing date is 3 days after your due date. The day after that is the start of a new cycle. But again, we'll go over that, and it'll be very easy to understand. Now, the due date, this is the date by which you must pay at least the minimum amount due. We'll talk about that and why you don't want to pay just the minimum. I mean, of course, because you don't want to get interest, but once I'm able to actually show you a statement, that will make, a lot more sense. The due date is usually about 3 weeks after the statement cycle date, and failure to pay at least the minimum by the due date will result in a late fee, or if it's just the minimum and not the full amount, the full balance, then it'll result in interest. All right, so this is the example that I wanted to give. It's going to be very, very basic, and it should be pretty easy to understand. So I took these exact same dates from my actual statement cycle on one of my credit cards. Now, the start date for my credit card is March 19th, 2024. That is the beginning of my statement cycle. Whatever I spend from March 19th, 2024 to February 18th, 2024, whatever I spend in that period will then be due on May 15th, 2024. So check this out. At the end of your statement cycle date, whatever balance you have currently gets reported to the credit bureaus, and it becomes the balance you need to pay on the next due date. So let's use this for example. If I wanted to make sure that I always used 10% or less on my credit card, and let's use a real example. This credit card has a limit of $2,000, right? Okay. Well, let's take $2,000. It doesn't matter what I spent from March 19th to March 18th. What I know is before this cycle date closes on the 18th, I need to only have 200 because that's 10% of 2,000 or less than that. So let's say from March 19th to April the 17th, let's say I spent $1,800. On the 17th of April, I'm going to make sure that I pay $1,600 because that's going to leave me with $200. So on April 18th, that's my last statement cycle date. That's the closing date. Whatever balance I have on the 19th of April, which will be a new cycle date, that's the balance that they're going to report to the credit bureaus. Like they're going to take a snapshot of that. That's the reporting amount. And then that's going to be due for me to pay on May 15th, 2024. Hopefully that makes sense and it sounds really, really easy. So everyone's credit card is different. For this particular credit card, if I pay in the same day, I just transfer funds to my credit card, the payment hits immediately. Now for your credit card, you'll know how it works. Some of them you pay, it takes like 5 days for that to actually affect the balance. If you know that's your credit card, make sure you will pay it 5 days prior to the cycle close date. That way you can get that 10% or less reporting. So I'm going to give you an example of what I do. When my new cycle date starts on the 19th of every month, I just use my credit card like normal. And let's say maybe 2 weeks later, I just pay it in full. I just pay it. Whatever I've spent, or I pay it at the end of each week. I might just pay it at the end of each week. I've been using my card for the last 7 days. I pay it. By the time I get to the end of my cycle date, I already know I've been paying on my card. I've been using it. I paid whatever was due on the last due date, of course, because if I had just $200 or less left, whatever I paid on that card automatically goes to the balance that I owe. So I don't have to worry about that or getting interest. Cool. I make sure that no matter what, on the 17th, it gets paid down to 200 or less. That's how I'm always going to be at 10% or less. And as I use it and as I pay it, I'll always pay the previous balance. So I'll never get interest either. That is the way that you can perfectly pay your credit card and you'll never get interest and you'll always have 10% or less for your utilization, which will give you the highest credit score possible. And to the credit bureaus, it'll look like you pay your bill on time and you always use way less than what's available to you, which shows that you're a responsible individual when it comes to money management. Now, some people will probably ask, because I know if you're watching this video, this must not be common knowledge to you. Why don't you pay the balance in full? The reason why we don't pay the balance in full is because if you were to pay the entire amount and you let that report to the credit bureaus, that just looks like inactivity. I'm going to give you an example because, like I said, I've worked at 3 different banks. There were a lot of seniors who would have auto pay for their credit card, where throughout the year, it would just look like they never had a balance because they would always pay it before the statement cycle date closed. So it would always be zero. They would then call and they would want to know, why was my credit card account automatically closed? Or why did my credit card limit get reduced? Then I have to go into their notes, read it, come to find out, it looked like their card was not being used. Banks only have so much money to lend. If you have a $20,000 limit and you're reporting a zero balance every single month, you know what they're going to do? They're going to drop your limit down to $5,000 because you weren't using it anyway. Why? You have no activity that ever reports. Or on the other end, if you don't use it at all, they're going to send you a correspondence saying this card's never being used. We're going to close your account, because there's no point in having a credit card open that doesn't have any activity at all. And if they don't at least spend something within that time frame and let it report, they will close your entire credit card account. I've seen it a bunch of times, and I've talked to a lot of angry clients when that happened. So those are 2 important reasons why you want to make sure that you let a balance report, and you want to make sure that, of course, if you have no activity, That's not going to help your credit score. So you always want to make sure that you have something reporting. That way you can get the maximum amount of points for low utilization. That way you can keep your credit limit and you don't get your account closed. And the most important thing, again, most people are afraid of interest. If you understand how your statement cycle date works, you'll never pay interest. Anything that you spend in this date between March 19th and April 18th is not due until May 15th. And if you have $200 or less, if you make your payment weekly, it always goes to the previous balance first. So technically, by you making a payment, even if you have new transactions, those transactions aren't due until June the 15th. So when you spend $300 and you pay $300, that first $200 goes towards what was going to be due on May 15th. You'll never get interest. And I hope that makes sense to people. Because again, I used to have to explain this a lot on the phone. So I know that it would be very confusing. But the best day to pay your credit card, in my opinion, will at least be 3 to 5 days before the statement cycle close date. And you want to make sure that whatever balance is left on that close date, because it'll be different for you, you always leave 10% or less, not 0, 10% or less. I would say 10 to 2% is a sweet spot. Even if you leave 1%, because I do it on this account sometimes too, that's still fine, which out of a $2,000 credit limit would be $20. That's 1% of $2,000. I leave $20, which is perfectly fine. So you'll have to take a look at your credit card statement and you'll have to determine, and it may be different verbiage, when your start date, when is your end date, what's your due date, and you can pretty much have a strategy of how to do this. Again, I feel like an easy strategy is pay it every week. After you've used the card, buy what you need for the week, pay it. That way you don't overspend. And then make sure on the due date, on the closing statement cycle date, depending on your credit card, because everybody's credit card is different. Just make sure that you know that some credit cards don't adjust the payment when you pay in the same day. Some take a few days. That's why I'm saying 3 to 5. For me, I just pay on the 17th. Whatever I pay it down, 200 or less, that reports, I'm good. That's how I do it. But for you, you may have to do it a couple days prior. But this to me is the easiest breakdown for you to understand exactly how statement cycles work. And now I'm going to actually pull up the actual statement that goes with this account. Now, as you can see, this is a Navy Federal Cash Rewards Visa card. And it lets you know right here, the minimum payment due is $20. I want to make sure that we don't get that confused. The new balance is $194. That's what I need to pay in full to not have interest. $20 is the minimum payment. That's the least amount you have to pay so that you don't get a late payment or get a late reporting. Okay? But it lets you know if we do not receive your minimum payment by the date listed above, you may have a $20 late fee and your APRs may be increased up to the penalty, which is an APR of 18%. They also give you a warning, minimum payment warning. If you make only the minimum payment each period, you will pay more in interest and it will take you longer to pay off your balance. For example, if you make no additional charges using this card and each month you pay $20, you will pay off the balance shown on this statement in about 11 months. And you will end up paying an estimated total of $211. So if you were only paying the minimum payment every single month on a small balance like $194, it would take you almost a year to pay it off. And not only that, you would pay over 100%, which means I would pay more than I actually had for my balance. So that's just a really small example of why you need to be cognizant of not just making minimum payments and why credit cards in particular have really, really, really high interest rates. So that's just for $194. You could only imagine what it would be if you had like $10,000. That's why sometimes people get in the credit card debt and it's hard to get out of it, because they don't understand how something as simple as 18% and only paying the minimum payment can be that costly. That is a lot. So, let's keep that in mind. Now, I intentionally did this. This wasn't a mistake on my part. I am trying to get my credit limit increased on this card to eventually around 50,000. Now, one of the ways that you can get a credit limit increase, and this is, again, I've worked at banks, so I'm not saying it's the same for everybody. This is just what I've learned. Okay. If you end up letting the maximum balance report, but you pay it in full, when you go to ask for a credit limit increase, in my experience, you're more likely to get a credit limit increase because it shows that it'll show that you basically almost use the maximum of your card, but then you paid it all off. So then naturally for banks, they're going to be thinking, okay, if he can pay the full amount of this credit limit and it's always, like almost hitting the limit, we can increase that credit score. Now, that can be a double-edged sword sometimes, but from my experience, when I've had people who have almost used their full credit card limit and they keep paying it off in full, if they did ask for another one and got denied, they could then talk to an underwriting team that can take a look at their profile, and they might be able to do a manual limit increase, because they could say, hey, every month I use the entire $2,000 balance, and as you can see, for the last 6 months, I paid it in full. I would just like to get it increased to 10,000 so that I wouldn't use it. Excuse me. Now, that strategy may not work for everybody, but I've seen people do it at the banks that I've worked at. It works sometimes. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying that it works. Another strategy is to make multiple payments to show that, man, I keep using this card and I keep having to pay it. Like if you made 6 or 7 payments in one statement cycle, that's also going to tell them, oh, they might need more limit because they keep making so many payments because they keep almost hitting the limit. Either one is good, and you could the other one, you can also, maintain good utilization. Another thing I want to make mention of is, because some people, they may leave a comment like, yeah, but then that's going to ruin your utilization and it's going to bring your score down if you do that. Here's the thing. Your credit score only matters when you need to apply for something. If I'm not applying for something or I need something, it doesn't matter. Like, your credit score is a tool. All this stuff is just a tool. You don't have to maintain a good high credit score all the time. I could do this strategy and next month I pay it off, I'm back to a 750. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I could do it's utilization can change in a cycle. If I use 100% of my credit card, I'll drop by 50 points. Okay, next month I pay it like this, 10%, it goes up by 50 points. It doesn't matter. It's again, these are all tools. When I need my credit score to be high, I'll make it high. If I don't need it, it doesn't matter at the time. Just to think about that, because again, it doesn't have to always be, it doesn't matter. These are just tools. These are all just tools. So I had a previous balance of $1,991.47. Again, I did that intentionally, and I left that balance there. As you can see, I immediately made a payment of $2,173.41 because I had some pending transactions. During the cycle, I spent $375.94, which left me with a balance of $194, which then made my utilization. It made it like 9%, right around there, like closer to 10. And that was it. And then, my score just goes back up. But see, my statement cycle close date is March 18th, 2024, right there. And my new statement cycle starts on the 19th. So everything I spent from basically February 19th to March the 18th, everything I spent is now due on April the 15th. And on April 15th, I just have to pay $194. And like I said, I usually use my card for the week and then pay it. So this has already been paid. The 194 is already paid because I just, I use it, I pay it. So I don't even have to worry about that. I have no new balance. I won't get any interest because I already paid it. It's done. And then I'll keep using my card up until the point that I get to around maybe April 17th, April 16th, and then I'll pay it down to 10% or less, which would be $200 or less. And that's all I do for the most part. I'll probably continue to let big balances kind of sit, or I'll continue making multiple payments. I do both. So that way I can give this bank reason to increase my credit score. And even if they deny me and I talk to someone, I could say, oh, look at my last 6 months. I spend the money, I pay the money, I spend the money, I pay the money, I spend the money, I pay the money. That limit's kind of small and I spend a lot. If you can make my limit higher, that would help me. It would, I kind of know how to make my case. But that is, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's very, very, straight. It's very straightforward. I hope that this was a easy explanation and it's not too confusing for you to understand. If you need any more clarification, I could either make another video or I can, show you a different credit card statement. Or if you have a particular question, drop it in the comments and I'll definitely be more than happy to address that for you guys. And if you have any more suggestions as far as videos go or things that you want to see, this kind of stuff for me is very, it feels very easy because I used to do it all the time. So I would be more than happy to do more stuff like that or explaining things about credit cards and things of that nature. And I just appreciate all of your support and your patronage when it comes to this channel. And it's just been wonderful to speak with you guys, to get to know you guys. And I have a few more videos coming out where I'm going to also be, giving more information about charge-offs and different ways to come at those. I think I have some really good videos that are going to be really good food for thought. I think it's going to really, really help a lot of people because I'm going to be presenting things that I don't think have ever been talked about, but are different things that you can do to get this stuff removed. And then, like I said, probably starting in the next couple of weeks, I can get back into business credit. And we'll start looking at that. And, for my people who care about that, to get you guys funding. And I want to, another thing, I really want to do a video soon on why business credit cards are literally the ultimate type of credit card and they're way better than personal. So even if you didn't want to have a business, having business creded cards are so much better than having personal credit cards. They are so much better. And I think that's very understated. They're not understated because there's people who definitely talked about it on YouTube, but on this channel, I think maybe I understated it. I don't think I've really shown people how if you have a good credit score, you should have maybe 3 good personal credit cards, but the rest of your credit cards should be business credit cards. So, if that's a video that would interest you or you would like to understand why that's important, then I'll definitely be willing to make that. But if there are any other type of videos that you would like, please email me with those ideas. You can leave it in the comments. I think comments are the easiest way for me to understand. Also, if you leave a comment after I respond to it, I just realized this, and you respond again, YouTube doesn't notify me from a second response. So if you said something and then I didn't respond, I probably didn't even see it. I actually have to go look for it. Once you say one thing and I respond, I actually have to go into the YouTube app and search for your response in order to see it. I don't see it. So if I didn't respond to your second question, that's the reason why. Or if there was a lag, that's the reason why. So just be patient with me and I'll get to any questions or concerns that you have, as soon as I can. Now what I've been doing is like every couple of hours, I'll just go right to a video and I'll search through the comments and I'll look for anything that wasn't, that wasn't responded to. And I just will try to go through most of the videos and then take a look. But I'm going to try to figure out how to fix that. If it's if there's actually a fix for it, or I'll try to figure out what I can do to make sure that I'm being notified of all the responses that you guys have. But again, thank you for everything. I won't keep you anymore. You guys have a wonderful day. Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we talk about all things financial literacy. And today we're going to be talking about 6 trade lines that can instantly boost your credit score. I received an email this morning from someone that I have been doing one-on-one coachings with, and they let me know that everything was completely off of their credit report. It was completely clean, which was amazing. That was great to hear. And he was surprised that his credit score was still so low. So he sent me a screenshot of his credit profile, and it wasn't really any information on there. I have given a lot of tools and resources to remove a lot of derogatory information, but even if you remove derogatory information, you need to have positive payment history and you need to have positive trade lines and accounts in order for your score to actually rise. You have to actively be paying on debt in order to have a good credit score. An easy way to actively pay on debt, and when we don't have, maybe let's say, the credit worthiness to get a lot of accounts approved, are going to be trade lines. And I used all of the trade lines that I'm going to be talking about in this video, and I've made videos previously on all of these trade lines. So I sent each video separately. I wanted to just combine it into one, and now you'll have a video that's going to give you the 6 best trade lines that I recommend that I've used to help improve my credit score. The way that I use these trade lines, I had a low credit score, really, really, really low. Once you get rid of derogatory information, you'll notice an increase. But I had a low credit score, probably in like the 480 range. These helped me quickly get to a 580, and then eventually in a few months, with removing some information, a 620, then a little bit later, a 650, 680. And then right around that 680 range, I had to remove derogatory information to get to the 700s and beyond that. So this will definitely help a lot of people. Most of the information didn't change. A few things changed. So I wanted to go over a couple of things. Then I'm also going to attach the other videos to this video so you can refer back down to them. So right now, if you are actively repairing your credit, I would add these trade lines if you have not had them. If you're just building credit for the first time and you've never had any accounts, these are also good. All of them do not require a credit check. There's no credit check. There's no hard inquiry. These are just help you build positive payment history, so then you can get approved for other things like a quick, easy credit card that you could get, maybe something with Capital One, maybe something with Bank of America, Wells Fargo, just to get your next starter card and then move on from there to start getting other things. So it's just the stepping stone to building a nice, thicker profile, to then getting the accounts that you actually want, to then building a relationship, and then doing whatever it is that you need to do with good credit. So the first one that I'm looking at now is going to be Ava. 74% of Ava members see a credit score improvement in less than 7 days. I have a video that talks all about this. I'm not going to go into detail about it. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what you can see with Ava. Now, most things with Ava have not changed, but just to let you know, they have 2 different products. One is an Ava installment loan. I have a video where I talk about the installment loan. One is an Ava revolving line of credit. What that means, it reports as a credit card to the credit bureaus, and it's going to report a $2,500 trade line. So just be aware that when you look at this one, there's 2 different products. One is an installment loan. It looks like a personal loan. The other one is a $2,500 trade line that is a credit card, essentially. So you will be able to get both these products with Ava. The other videos will go into more detail. If that interests you, click that in the description. The next one that you're going to be looking at is Kickoff. Now, same thing with Kickoff. It has an installment loan. It also has a revolving line of credit. Now, one thing with Kickoff did change in the recent months that you probably will not see in the video. Now, Kickoff Basics, it's $5 and reports as a $750 trade line. There's also one for $2,500. Recently, they had a new one for $3,500. That's $35 per month. So just between this trade line and the other one, you can basically have access to around $6,000 worth of trade line. So if your utilization is bad, just by getting both of these, you can add $6,000 of trade line to reduce your utilization. That's 35% of your credit score. This can literally make somebody's credit score improving 50 points seemingly overnight. So you really want to take a look at some of these. If you're going to do it, I would recommend just going with the highest one, because $35 really isn't a lot for that type of trade line to report. It's no credit check. It reports to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And again, they also have an installment loan product. You can take a look at that as well. I have a video where I talk about the installment loan, so you can check that out too. Kovo is going to be the next one on our list. Kovo actually reports to Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, and it also reports to Innovis. And I'm going to explain in the video how it works, but just really briefly. One, you build installment credit. It's $10 per month for 24 months, reports to all 4 credit bureaus. You grow your credit. You can also earn cash rewards, and you can unlock credit boost. And there's, the video will explain more details about that. This one hasn't really changed, so it isn't anything that I need to update, but just to give you that brief overview. And again, it's no credit check. It's no hidden fees, reports to all 4 credit bureaus. Brigit is the next one on our list. Brigit is also a really good one that has a credit builder for just $1, and you just have to save $1 per month. It's no credit approval. It's no impact to your credit score, no hard inquiry or anything like that. This is a very easy, straightforward credit building loan. It's good. It'll help you have diversity and good credit mix, because you don't just want all revolving lines. You really do want a mix of everything. Next one we're looking at is Grow Credit. Now, this will help you build credit using your subscriptions. It's very similar to Experian Boost, if you've ever used that, except for now you can use that with other credit bureaus. If you've seen how good Experian Boost is, it's helped me while I was trying to repair my credit, especially on the Experian side. And that's the reason why my Experian credit score was always higher than all the other ones. But now using this, you can see a similar effect for TransUnion as well as Equifax. The last one on our list is going to be StellarFi, which is very similar to what we just saw with Grow Credit. Now, StellarFi will actually report bills that you can use, but these bills don't just have to be subscriptions. The one thing I like about StellarFi the most is that you can actually report your rent. That is the main one that I like, because depending on how high your rent is, you can have a trade line that can be very huge. So it's a little bit different than Grow Credit with that advantage. So we pay your bills on time. You can link your monthly bills by adding your StellarFi bill pay card as the primary payment option with your biller. We will automatically pay on its due date, and you'll then automatically authorize repayment. We will debit your linked checking for the amount of the bill. StellarFi then reports all the positive monthly payments to the credit bureaus, improving your credit history. The more bills that you pay, the more that we report. And again, the apartment and rent one, that is the one that I think is the most important when it comes to StellarFi. So you can figure out how to mix and match all of these so you can get the most benefit from them. Now, this will benefit the people who have very low credit scores and who don't have a thick credit profile. If you already have a thick credit profile, then these will not benefit you as much. But for the people who have either low credit scores and they don't have enough positive history, this will greatly help. If you have a thin credit profile and you need to start building and you don't want to have a bunch of hard inquiries on your credit report, this will help you. All right. So again, check the description. I'm going to link all the videos there. They will be in probably the order that I made them, but they will go over detailed information for each of these trade lines. And again, They will help you increase your credit score. You can see it in as little as 7 days when it comes to Ava, and probably you'll see the most benefits in around 90 days, but 30 days on average, you'll definitely see a change. So thank you so much for watching this video. Check the description for the one that you would like more information about, and you guys have a wonderful day. Welcome back to Success with Steven. In today's video, I'm going to give you 4 instant trade lines to boost your credit score 40 to 100 points. These will be personal trade lines that you can use. They don't require a credit check, and it's no hard inquiry, so bad credit is definitely welcome. If you're like me, you want to make sure to get the best interest rates, and to do that, we need to have a high score. So join me on the computer, and I'm going to show you how to boost your credit score instantly with these 4 trade lines. All right, so for the trade lines that we're looking at today, it's going to be comprised of 2 installment loans, and it's going to be comprised of 2 revolving accounts. If you haven't seen my video on how easy it is to get an 800 credit score, I'm going to link that here. So that way, if you need a breakdown to understand why these are so significant, you can do so. Now, when I was rebuilding my credit, I started around a 480. One of the things that definitely helped me get from that credit score to the high 600, 700 range was Ava. Now, Ava did change over the time that I was using it. Originally, this was, it would help improve your credit score fast by giving you basically a revolving credit card line. It started at 750, but since Ava has actually increased it to where the credit card line is 2,500. And I'm just going to go over some of the things here about how it actually works. So, as I said in my other video, 35% of your credit score is on-time payments. The other 30% is utilization. Utilization can only be received by having a credit card account. That's the most important thing. Revolving credit cards are the only accounts that get 30% of that score. So it's important to have one. Credit mix is also a part of it, which is only 15%, but they put credit, age, and mix here together, making it 25, 10 and 15. So let's actually go to the Ava credit card. All right. So it's no interest, no deposit. You get approved instantly. So you won't have to worry about getting a hard inquiry. It doesn't matter if your credit is good or it's bad. Everyone will qualify for this. Ava's credit card is a $2,500 trade line. It's $2,500. So this will do a couple things. If you only have a $500 card right now or something with a low credit limit, this is going to give you an additional $2,500. So your overall utilization instantly gets good. Not only that, but you can put subscriptions onto Ava. So the way it works, you get the 2,500 credit line that's going to report. Ava will let you put your online merchants to the Ava monthly store, which could be like Cox Communications. It could be your Verizon bill. It could be HBO, Peacock. It could be so many different things. I'm going to get a list of all the merchants. So as you can see here, 24 Hour Fitness, ABC Mouse, AMC, Amazon. These are things that obviously everyone's going to use to some degree. You can link them to your Ava card and you could pay them. It'll report a 2,500 credit line, but show you're using less than 10% of that credit line every single month. You cannot beat this trade line. It is the absolute, hands down, in my opinion, it's the best revolving trade line you could get to boost your credit score. I'm trying to think if there's any downsides, but honestly, I don't have any downside that I could possibly provide to you. Except for you do have to pay for this every single month. If you pay for it annually, it's $6. If you pay for it monthly, it's $9. Maybe that's the only drawback. It reports to all 3 credit bureaus. The limit that you get to spend on the Ava card is contingent upon what they provide for you. So what do I mean by that? When you have your Ava account, you get a credit limit of $2,500, but you don't get access to that credit limit. They let you maybe get like 50, maybe I think mine went as high as like $150. and you can link up all of your reoccurring merchants that they had on the list, and you can add them on there to pay with the Ava card like it's a regular card, but only up to that limit. It can't exceed that. That way it keeps your utilization perfect. It could never be less than 10%. It actually can never, it's actually going to be lower than that, but it could basically, it's fail proof. You cannot fail as long as you're paying this on time and you're paying your monthly fee, which makes it very, 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 very easy. The other part of Ava, because remember I told you it's going to be 4 different trade lines. Ava also has something called Ava Save and Build. It's an installment loan. Again, instant approval, no hard inquiry. Why is this important? In my video that I did prior, I told you a big part of your score is on-time payments. The other part is utilization. The other part is credit mix and then age. These accounts basically hit 4 out of the 5 primary targets. With this one, you're going to get not only a credit card that's revolving with a high limit, you're also going to get an installment loan that you could pay into every single month. So you could set aside up to $30 per month. I believe I set aside $21. And at the end of it, I think it was $252. And it's for 1 year. You get to keep that money. That money comes back. So you're going to deposit that automatically every single month from your bank account. And it's going to look like you're paying off a loan monthly. That is going to greatly increase your score. You're going to build credit quickly. And this says on average, you can go about 45 points. I would definitely agree with that. That is about the average that you're going to see. And then after completing your 12 months of payments, you get all the money back. The 252 goes right back into your account and you cash out. I've done it. It goes right back and you can start a new one if you would like. So we can go to maybe some of the frequently asked questions. We already know how it's going to build. We already know why it exists. A little bit more on the save and build. So save and build, you put $30 into your wallet every month, 21 to 30. It may have changed now, but I still do 21. And we report each of those payments to the credit bureaus as a successful on-time payment towards a loan. This will boost your score. And after 12 months, you get all the money back. It's a win-win. And it really is a win-win. There really is no bad thing, I think, that comes from this. It can only help you. Now, pricing. Annually, again, it's $6 if you pay for the year. So you can save money by doing that. Or you can go monthly and you could pay $9 per month. I recommend paying the $6, but if you don't want to, then you can pay the $9. If you pay the $6, getting, 45, 50 point increase will cost you $72 for the year. And that's it. I don't think that you could beat that in any way. I mean, Ava card, no minimum score, no deposit, no interest, 2,500 credit card reporting. Your score improvement is usually within 30 days. It's high. I mean, you really can't beat that. It really does everything that it says that it's doing. And for the savings builder, so it looks like it says monthly. So $30 might be the standard now. It's $30 for 12 months. You get the money back within 12 months. So, of course, besides the merchants that you link to Ava and besides the $30, because technically if you link the merchants, you're going to be paying that. But those were bills you're going to pay regardless, right? They were your bills. And the $30, you will get that back. But if you want to count it and you were paying technically into $39, it's $39 a month. Maybe see out of your account $468 in a year if you do the $9 one monthly, but you're going to get $360 of that back automatically. So I mean, I really don't see the downside. I think the most it'll cost you is $103 if you go the $9 route, $108. That's the most that this will cost you to have a 2,500 credit card report to your credit and to also have an installment loan to get a good credit mix and to get some credit age. You can't beat it. All right. So now let's get into the next 2 trade lines, which will be another revolving account and another installment loan. 2 trade lines that we're looking at are going to be with the same company, and they're going to be that's going to be Kickoff. Now, with Kickoff, you get another $2,500 credit limit. So now between two of these, between Ava and Kickoff, you're going to have $5,000 that's going to be reporting with perfect utilization. Now, for the Kickoff website, it says that it starts monthly at $5. $5 only gets you a $750 credit line. There's another plan called the Premium for $20. Let me see if I could find it on here. I don't think that they updated their website, but there's a premium plan for $20 when you sign up for Kickoff, and it reports a $2,500 card. So the $20 that you pay per month just reports to the credit bureaus as a balance, and you just keep paying it. So it'll always report perfect utilization every single month. So right now, I don't think on the website it shows that premium one, but that's the one that I'm actually talking about and I would suggest for you. And then how does Kickoff work? It pretty much works the exact same. So Kickoff is a credit building service. They have the credit account, which it's going to be that credit card. It reports again for the premium plan, which is $20, $2,500. It reports that to the credit bureaus if you pay $20. If you pay $5, you could do the $750, but I recommend paying the $20 per month and getting that $2,500 loan. The second thing that they have is the credit builder loan. The credit builder loan looks like a 1-year installment loan, but you pay $10 per month, which goes into a savings account for 12 months. So you get $120 back after the 12 months. So that's not really anything lost to you. So you get the second installment loan, which is, again, good for credit mix. And you also get the $2,500 credit card line, which makes your credit look amazing. You have $5,000 worth of credit line and utilization is perfect. Now, there was another thing that they do offer. It's the secured card. It's free. Again, it's no credit check and no hard inquiry. And if you wanted to have that third line, then you can. It does report as a credit card, but it works more like a debit card. You have to add money to it and you spend money on it. It'll report that. It doesn't report a limit per se. It reports the amount that you actually spend, which it can be, good to have. That's optional. But the two main ones that I really think that you should focus on is going to be the credit builder loan and also the Kickoff credit account. And if you look at the most frequently asked questions here, on average, customers with credit scores under 600 see their credit score increase by 58 points with consistent on-time payments during the account lifetime. I will agree that this definitely does help. You want to make sure that both of these combined, man, overnight, it can change your credit score. I promise you. I promise you that if you get all 4 of these accounts, I would say within like a 30-day time frame, you'll see a big boost. The more time that you have it, the more on-time payments that report, and the lower you start to pay down the installment loans that they put on there, the more it increases your actual score. So I would say within 6 months, you'll probably see the full effect of Ava and Kickoff at the same time. And then again, for the fees here, the only fees that you have is the $20 that you pay into the $2,500 credit line. And then the other fee that you would have is the $10 that you pay, which is $30 in total per month. But the $120 at the end of the year, you will get back. Now, using the secure card, you can access funds, and then it's over 55,000 ATMs in the Kickoff network. You will be subject to a $2.50 Kickoff fee in addition to any ATMs outside of the network. Other than that, you're all good. Now, there really isn't anything I think that's very, very easy. One of the other options is they do have a dispute option for disputing your credit if you wanted to use that. I'd never use it, but it is optional and it is on there. They have rent reporting, and they also have additional trade lines that you can look into. That's another one. You guys definitely want to check this out. This is one of the best options that you can possibly get for a primary trade line that's going to boost your credit score instantly. So I want you guys to join. I'm going to put a link in the description. Please use the link in the description. Sign up for Kickoff, sign up for Ava. Let me know that you signed up and let me know how much that boosts your score. Please comment below. I like to keep track of this. I like seeing everyone's wins. I love it, man. I get flooded with so much positivity here on this channel. I want to see you guys get 800 credit scores. I want to see you guys be as successful as you would like to be. So comment below if you have this, if you don't have it, that you signed up. And in 30 days, I want you to tell me what the average increase was. And then come back after 60 days and tell me what and tell me after 90. Please let people know that this worked, because collective information does help everyone. All right. So if this did help you, please like, subscribe, and share. And you guys have a wonderful day. Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. Today, we're going to be talking about the best credit builder loans in 2024. So this is a follow-up to a previous video that I had where we discussed a couple of credit builder revolving accounts. So they were credit card accounts that would report to the credit bureaus, and they were through credit builder apps that you can use to help with utilization, help with credit line, and then also boost your credit score. Well, this is going to be another one of those type of products, except this time it's going to be for installment loans. Now for installment loans, it's very important when you want to raise your credit score to have a decent credit mix. And one of the best products to use for a credit mix are installment loans. You know, these are 3 apps that I've used, and on these 3 apps, 2 of them are 24-month loans. One of them is a 12-month loan. And for the price, they're relatively low, but I'm going to go through the pros and the cons of each if I found any cons. One thing I do want to mention, there was another one that I did not include on here, but I want to make a separate video for altogether, is Ava. And I have mentioned Ava before, how you can get a $2,500 credit line, a revolving credit card line that reports to your credit, as well as another one. So I'm going to do a separate video on that one by itself at some point. But for today, I just wanted to get ones that were strictly discussing credit builder loans, even though they may entail other products. Okay, so let's get right into it. And the first thing I want to talk about is, of course, credit mix. So simply put, your credit mix refers to the type of different credit accounts that you have. That could be mortgages, it could be loans, it could be credit cards, etc. It's one factor generally you want to consider when you're looking at your credit score. Now, it is only 15% of your score, but it also can weigh on your score in many different ways. So generally, lenders and creditors like to see that you have a diverse credit mix, and they like to see that you've been able to manage different types of credit accounts and that you're responsible with them over time. So with the installment loans, that's any loan that's paid back generally with interest through regular payments over a period of time, and the payment amount typically stays the same when the loan is repaid and the account is closed. So an example of an installment loan would be an auto loan. Now, the loans on this list, what's great about them, they don't have interest. They don't have excessive fees. They're very affordable, and they put you in the best position to win. 35% of your credit score is on-time payments. These accounts will give you on-time payments. You really need that. It'll give you a good credit mix. That's one of the other most important things. You really want to have that. So if you combine these with other credit builder products like Ava, you know, the credit card, the revolving account, and a couple of other things, You can greatly increase your credit score in a very short period of time. And for me, a short period of time, I would say would be like 3 to 6 months. Even though with a lot of these, you'll start seeing results within the first 60 days. I would say that 6 months is a good time frame if you're starting to rebuild credit and you want to add positive trade lines to your account. This is it. You know, these things will do it, and I think that they're very reasonably priced, and they're pretty good. They're pretty good companies. Okay. So the first one that I want to talk about is Kovo. Now, I'm sure you've probably heard of Kovo before. If not, some of you may even have this product, but you can check your eligibility and it won't impact your credit score. This one reports to TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, and Innovis. And then, you know, some of you may not know about Innovis, but if you go to innovis.com, you have a credit report for them as well. You may want to check that out. Now, refunds for Kovo are available within 30 days. I think that's one of the good things about Kovo. There's no fees. One of the other things that people ask me about is FICO scores. They want to know if they can see their FICO score. Credit Karma has your Vantage score. If you go to credit bureaus like TransUnion and Equifax, they also have your Vantage score. With Kovo, you get your FICO score included when you have this credit builder loan. So that's a really good feature. Now, it doesn't offer a mobile app to manage your loan. That is one of the cons that I found with Kovo. And if you've used it before, you're probably aware of that. So it does have to be managed online. Now, the monthly payment for Kovo is $10. The repayment terms, 24 months, total cost, $240. Now, I prefer 24-month terms. Reason being, the longer the installment loan, the better it is for your credit score. The moment you pay the loan off, it will either no longer be reporting payments or it will lower your score. It's actually better to always actively be paying on something if you're trying to build credit or you're trying to increase your score. You need to be actively participating in paying debt in order for your score to go up or maintain. So of course, when it is paid off, your score can either, it either will lose payment history because it'll no longer be reporting, or your score will go down. It depends. I've seen it vary by credit bureau. Now, with that in mind, 24 months is a very good loan term. All right. The longer that it is, the better. If it's shorter, that's still okay. It's good payment history. And you can always add on a different one, or as you get to, higher points in your credit journey, you'll eventually get new accounts that can replace those. So even if it's a small decrease in your score, you can always add something that will then increase it. You know, maybe that'll be a product that's not a credit builder, but maybe it'll be an auto loan. You know what I'm saying? When you get to that point where your credit score has improved enough where that can potentially make sense for you. Now let's take a look at how this credit builder actually works with Kovo. So Kovo Credit Builder isn't like a traditional loan where, of course, you borrow money and you pay it back. You'll sign up and get instant approval, and then you'll receive access to a wide range of interactive courses designed to help you improve your business skills, build confidence, and achieve your goals. You'll also get access to these courses on credit, and then you're going to pay them off over 24 months. So they give you these courses similar to like a Skillshare, and you're technically paying for these courses over a 24-month period. That's the $10 that you're paying. That's going to be $240 after the 24 months. Okay, so we are on the website for Kovo. Build credit with rewards. So no credit check, no hidden fees, instant approval, and you earn 1% on your loans. And you can apply here, but let's look at a couple of different things. So give yourself the credit you deserve. So see real impact. It reports to all 3 credit bureaus. You can track your FICO score, which again is very, very good because a lot of people are looking for their FICO scores and instead they're finding their Vantage scores. So, you know, you pay sometimes $30 per month to have one of these scores. You can get rewards up to $1,225. That's 5 times the value of Kovo. And then you can save on interest as well. So you lower your monthly interest payments when you have a higher credit score. Of course, that is a consequence of increasing your score. Here are the courses. The courses are created by instructors to help you hit your goals. While these courses are all together valued at over $400, we make them available as a collection for $240. Now, these courses, in my opinion, don't really mean anything to me. I don't really care about the courses. I could learn everything from YouTube University. Wherever I have to go, I can read a book. There's a lot of ways for me to get educated on the things that I want to learn. That's not really important for me. What's important is that I have a 24-month credit builder loan. That's the most important thing for me. But if you wanted to use these resources, it is available to you. The value that they have on this is only as valuable as you deem them. So if they're useful to you, then they are that valuable. If they're not useful to you, well, we know that we're getting this for a credit builder to increase our credit score and to have a better credit mix. Now, the return policy. If you're looking to return your installment plan purchase for any reason, you have 30 days. You can do so by going to support@kovocredit.com. Are there any fees? So there's no hidden fees. We don't have to go over that. There is no credit check. Will you see the results? Well, it's unique to everyone's profile, but on average, many customers need a few months before experiencing a change. Make on-time payments each month, and that will help create positive payment history. I would say probably after 60 days, you will see a change, but that's not guaranteed. It does depend on each person's credit profile because, of course, everyone's credit profile is unique to them. Now let's check the rewards. Rewards provide a way for Kovo customers to earn gifts when opening a loan or credit card offered by some of our featured lenders and card issuers. Rewards are calculated as 1% of the value of a personal loan issued up to $500 gift card, student loan issued up to $250 gift card, student loan refinance issued up to $250 gift card, auto loan refinance up to $150 gift card, and up to $75 gift card for a credit card issued. Each reward can be redeemed once per category. Now, these are rewards that you get when opening any of these products. So there is in a sense, it's not just a reward that you can collect. You would have to be applying for something in order to get these rewards. So you can log into Kovo, go to the rewards section. Once you have it, you'll see it. If you're eligible, you'll see the rewards unlocked and you'll be able to see various offers available. Use the link provided and open your account within 15 days of clicking the link. And remember to turn off any content blockers or ad blockers. And then it tells you what can you earn, and rewards are earned within 90 days of loan or card issuance. And then who can access the rewards? Well, the awards are eligible to customers and those who demonstrate consistent on-time payments on their Kovo installment plan, active customers who have made four or more on-time payments. So when you log on, if you don't see it right away, know that after 4 or more on-time payments, you should have access to the rewards. Now, these are just additional things that you could possibly have with Kovo, but the most important thing that I'm looking at is just a 24-month loan and what it's going to cost me. I think overall on our list, Kovo is going to be the most expensive loan that you can have, being $240 within 24 months. Each one should actually be less, but overall, it's a decent product. It's definitely going to help you. And of course, for $240 after 2 years or $10 per month, for me to see a increase in my credit score or my credit mix for a 24-month loan is amazing. I think that's very, very inexpensive for the result that you're looking for overall. All right, let's go to the next credit builder loan on our list. The loan on our list is going to be Brigit. Now, Brigit is probably my favorite on this list. And as you can see, I don't have any cons here. You save $1 per month to build credit. I mean, it's very inexpensive. No credit approval is required. There's no interest or deposits up front, and the payments are reported to all 3 credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, with a monthly payment of course, $1. Repayment terms for 24 months. So the total cost of Brigit is going to be $24. Very straightforward, very, very easy. I believe that a couple of people who are a part of Brigit, or they're at least, I believe that they are maybe partial owners. Kevin Durant, Ashton Kutcher, I believe. It's a really good company. I think it's very transparent, as transparent as it can get. It's not confusing at all. And the way that it works with Brigit, unlike personal loans or Brigit Instant Cash, when you get onto the app, you're going to see they have an option to give you cash instantly once you link your checking account. But that's not what we're talking about. I just know that when you're looking at the app, you might get it confused. What you're looking at is just the credit builder loan. So you do not have access to money from Brigit Credit Builder loan. And that's why I want to clarify that. You don't have, they're going to show a loan. You do not have access to this loan. You're basically paying $1 to that loan every single month for 24 months. And that's it. That's it. When your credit builder account is open, the loan proceeds are held in a new secured deposit account that they're going to open in your name, and you can withdraw your savings at any time directly in the Brigit app. I like that too. It's very flexible. And that loan amount, of course, after 24 months is going to be $24 if you choose to do the dollar option. So your Brigit secure deposit account is designed to facilitate on-time payments and establish a positive payment history, which is the most important factor of your credit score. So overall, you're not going to be using this to borrow money or to do anything else with. I would even if you're rebuilding credit, I would stay away from that part of the Brigit app. Okay. I would just focus on setting up my auto pay for this. All I have to have is $1. It'll automatically pay it, and it's going to greatly increase my credit score for the next 24 months. You can't really ask for more than that. Very simple, easy. And again, I tried to think of any type of cons or any drawbacks. And honestly, if you're using this thing for what it was intended to be used for without using any of the other options, you really can't go wrong on the Brigit website. So build credit for, and it just gives you multiple options, because this does help. It definitely helped me. Build your credit without extra debt, ditch managing more debt and complicated accounts. This is a very simple account. I can definitely attest to that. So you can get started very easily. You open a credit builder account. It's no hard pull or credit score that's required. You can set up your account in minutes. You save as little as $1 per month. When you go to it, there will be multiple options. I think the dollar one is the easiest one. And I think it's the easiest one to maintain. You build payment history, which is of course going to be 30% of your credit score. I'm sorry, 35% of your credit score, and you get to save money. If you decide to do more, then it'll be more money later on. If you decide to do $1, then it'll be $1. So we know how it works. We know that it's not a hard pull, and how will it affect your score? So when you first open the credit builder account, you may see a small dip in your score. That's normal, because of course it'll affect your account age. But you have to understand that if you look at credit mix and on-time payments, those two, one's 15, one's 35. That's already going to be 50% of your score. It's a much bigger factor than credit mix, than credit age. So you should be worried about 50% of your score than whatever dip you might get from the 10% over here, right? So you may see a dip, but as you start to make monthly payments and they report to each of the 3 major credit bureaus. This will help show positive payment history, and it will build your score. So we kind of have an idea of why we should sign up and the factors that entail in building our score. Can you cancel at any time? And yes, that's again another great thing about this one is it is very, very flexible. You can actually go right into the app when you choose to, and you can withdraw your funds as you see fit. I wouldn't do that, especially if you've been, if it's $1, there really wouldn't be a need, hopefully, for you to withdraw that. And I mean, this is one of the best loans that I think you can possibly get. And on this list, I would say it's my favorite. It's just, you definitely want options. I wish I could do this same one like multiple times, right? But it's good to have different options. But this one is definitely the easiest one, I would say, that is on our list, and definitely helped me boost my score. So let's go to the last credit builder app that we're going to be looking at for today. Right, the last installment loan on our list is Kickoff. So with Kickoff, it is no credit check. The payments are reported to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. You can build this. This builds your credit score by charging you $10 per month in a savings of $120 after 1 year. Kickoff has a dedicated app for iOS and Android. Kickoff does not include your FICO score. That is a typo. It includes your Vantage score. Now, the disadvantage to Kickoff is that you must sign up for a credit account in order to get the loan. And basically what that means is that there is a $5 credit account that will report a $750 line of credit to the credit bureaus. Okay. And if you sign up for that one, you are then able to add on the credit loan product, which is just basically a savings account. So it really only costs you $5 for the monthly payment. That's going to be for 12 months. So in total, Kickoff is going to cost you $60 after 1 year. All right, we're on the Kickoff website. Build credit with Kickoff, no credit check. Open your account in minutes. Average of 28-point increase after the first month. So Kickoff is still pretty easy to use. It's no hard pull. You can cancel at any time, but just know that it's going to be $5 per month no matter what you do. And then you're saving $10 a month for 12 months. Okay. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. There aren't any additional fees here that you have to actually pay. The only thing that you really need to worry about, since this is only installment loans, I'm not going to talk about the Kickoff credit card. I mentioned that in the other Tradeline video. But for this one, you would have to get both products. Now, having both of those products for a $60 total is not that bad. When you think about it, it's actually pretty good. For me personally, I still use Kickoff to this day. For my Kickoff account, I started off at $750 for $5. Then I changed it to a $2,500 line of credit for $25. They gave me an offer, I believe, like a week ago, $35 for this ultimate plan, where now it's a $3,500 credit line that reports to the credit bureaus every month, and I still use the installment loan. Now, once my installment loan closed after the first year, my score did take a dip for whatever reason, not on Experian or TransUnion, but on Equifax for some reason. Just that one, it took a dip. I started a new loan, which of course has an effect on your credit age, but I wasn't too worried about it. I had some older accounts that really evened it out to a decent space. Okay, so just be aware of that. But other than that, I don't think that there's too many other drawbacks to Kickoff. If you check the description of this video, I have links at the bottom to each of these 3 installment loans. So let me know which one you prefer, which one you're using currently. Going forward in the next few videos, I have some stuff coming out. Today is actually April I'm sorry, today's actually, we're not in April anymore. We are in May. It's May 1st. So the time is flying by. We are May 1st, 2024. I have a few more videos. I might push this one to the front. And I have some on passive income coming. I'm working on some other ones. I heard you guys ask about check systems. Still working on that. I didn't get the results that I want. I'm still working on it. So give me some time. It's a lot of things in the works. And I have a couple more good informational videos coming out next week. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day. Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we talk about everything financial literacy. And today, I'm going to be talking about some additional trade lines that you can use to boost your credit score. And for this video, it's going to be $26,800 potentially that you can have in these two trade lines that can boost your credit score. Now, these are two that you're familiar with if you've been looking, but I'm going to go into some greater detail about both of these trade lines. I did get requests to actually cover both of these. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, the first one that we're going to be looking at is Grow Credit. So Grow Credit reports to all major credit bureaus every single month. It helps you establish and grow your credit month over month with auto pay for your subscriptions through an interest-free virtual MasterCard. So if you have anything like Netflix, Hulu, your gym membership, anything like that, you can actually put all of your subscriptions in one place, and it's going to help you improve your credit score. Now, for a lot of people, even myself, I have plenty subscriptions and I have a lot of issues with keeping up with them because sometimes I have cards that expired. I change cards out, and then I have multiple transactions coming from one place, coming from different places instead of one place. This kind of solves that issue if you're going through that as well. Now, with this particular type of trade line, there are some limitations when it comes to the credit line that you can get. And then we're going to go over what those limitations are and exactly what type of plans that they're going to offer for Grow Credit. Now, Grow Credit is unique with trade lines, with Credit Builder trade lines. They have a free plan that you can get. So the build free is $204 annual credit limit. So it's going to be $204 that is reported to the credit bureaus. Your spending limit is $17. So with $17, it's not really too many subscriptions that you can add on there. If you have some that's maybe $4.99, you might be able to get away with adding 3. But for the most part, very small. But again, it also is free. So it's perfect for paying one subscription free for the first 12 months. It's then $2.99 per month. This reports to all 3 major credit bureaus. It gives you access to your FICO scores, automatic payments, free financial literacy education, and access to premium subscriptions, cell phone bill payment. And this one, I'm sorry, I think it actually restricts the access to premium subscriptions. But that was just one of the things that they were offering. I copied it from there, but I believe that one you have to actually get Grow or Accelerate in order to get that feature. Now, the benefit of this is when I was trying to rebuild my credit, I started with a secured card of $200. So if you get a secured card of $200, you can then add this one as well. My strategy for, rebuilding credit, I would try to get all of these accounts at the same time if you can. That way it won't affect your average age if you add new accounts later. So if you can get something like a secured card of $204, this would then be a good one to start. You can try it for free, see how you like it. If you like it, then you can upgrade it and go to the next plan, which would be Grow. So Grow is $4.99. And you're going to get $600 annual credit limit. The spending is $50 per month. So it's perfect for paying 2 to 3 subscriptions maybe. And it reports again to all 3 major credit bureaus. You get access to your FICO scores and the same benefits that you get with the build. In addition, you'll get access to premium subscriptions. So the Accelerate is $9.99. But with this one, you get a $1,800 annual credit limit. That's $9.99 per month. Now, the spending limit is $150. I believe this is the best one that you can possibly get. You get a $1,800 credit limit, which is really good, especially if you don't have any other limits that are reporting currently. It reports to all 3 credit bureaus, but you can actually probably put, goodness, maybe like 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, or, it depends, but there's a lot of subscriptions, maybe even all of them on this one trade line. Again, it's automatic payments. You even get to do the cell phone bill payment on this one as well. If you want to do that, if you get something like Ava, it also offers the exact same thing, but you can also do a combination of a few different trade lines, but that one would probably be the best plan in my opinion. Now let's talk about a few key takeaways. Now, the reporting time frame, you should begin seeing grow on your report within 60 to 90 days. Okay. And that's after you make your first payment. Second key takeaway, utilization. The credit builder gives you a small amount of credit line. That's intentional. That small amount is under 10%, and it gives you the maximum points that you'll need on your credit. So 35% of your credit score is on-time payments. The other 30% is utilization. This will give you the perfect utilization every single month. You can't fail. So it puts you in the best position to win and to get the most potential increase that you can for your credit score. Another big thing is no hard inquiry. This account will not require you to have a hard inquiry whatsoever. So that is the last benefit and the key takeaway that I want to go over. Now, let's go to the website for Grow Credit so we can take a look and just see everything else that they're offering. All right, so we are on the Grow Credit website here. And as you can see, you can build your credit for free if you're using that free plan. They're saying that 44 points seems to be the average that you're looking at when you're using this. And Grow Credit builds credit factors that make up 90% of your FICO score, which would be your payment history, which is again 35%, utilization, which is 30, credit age, which is 15, and 10%, which is also credit mix. And they give you the steps of how it works. You can set up your credit account, 2, add your subscriptions, and then 3, use Grow Debit MasterCard on your subscriptions. Sit back and watch your credit grow. All right. And then these are the plans. For some reason on the website now, they don't actually give you the credit line amounts, but when you're going through the process of setting up Grow, you will then see the credit limits that they offer. Again, with the new website updates, they don't show it anymore, but when you're going through the process, it should show the credit line. And if we look at it here, this is what I was talking about. I copy this for my slide, but as you can see with the free one, you don't get access to premium subscriptions. You don't get access to cell phone bill payments. With the $4.99 plan, you get access to everything besides cell phone bill payment. And with the one for $9.99, you do get that access to the cell phone bill payment. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this. If you did want to pay your cell phone bill, you are required to do the Accelerate plan. If you don't need that and you're just trying to do simply your subscriptions, then you could just do the Grow plan. All right. And then there's some factual questions here, frequently asked ones. How does it help you build your credit score, which we kind of are aware of the different factors that it does work for. Again, with this one, you have the opportunity to start for free. I would start it for free and just see how you like it. If you like it, awesome. I would go ahead and use that. And I will also read the bottom of here around where the privacy policy terms and conditions are. It does let you know right here at the bottom, if something was to happen where you were not able to pay or you missed the payment, Grow Credit will report late payments. So you want to make sure that you are paying this on time, because even though it can help you, grow your credit, it can negatively impact you. And that's pretty much for all credit builders. They will report late payments. So just bear in mind that you want to make sure that when you're using this, you're using it responsibly and you're paying it on time. That way they can report these on-time payments to help your credit, not hurt it anymore. So other than that, I think that pretty much wraps it up. And that is everything for Grow Credit. Let's move on to the next credit builder trade line. All right, the next credit builder trade line that we're going to be looking at will be Stellar Fi. So I have had a few people ask me about this one. You sign up and link your checking account that you normally use to pay your bills. You can add reoccurring bills that you like to use to pay your credit, like rent, utilities, or streaming services. So all of that can also be added to Stellar Fi. You automatically pay them back and they report your on-time payment to the major credit bureaus. So Stellar Fi is very unique in the fact that it lets you do more than just subscriptions, and it lets you do really, really large bills, especially if you can add things like rent and utilities. And this is a way of getting your rent payments to actually help you increase your credit score. So let's talk about the Stellar Fi plans. There are 3 different plans, just like the previous one. First one is Light. That's a $500 bill pay limit. And this is the bare essentials for those with only a few bills. So it's $4.99 per month with a bundle value of $14.99 per month. No credit check, easy enrollment, the $500 bill payment limit, and the limit is reported to major credit bureaus, and you can pay smaller bills anywhere that cards are accepted. Now, the second plan that they have is the Prime. Now, the Prime is a $25,000 bill pay limit. So for Prime, those with many bills that are looking to build credit fast, you can get it for $9.99 per month. And there's also a bundle value that you could get of $34.99 per month. And you can try it for $9.99. Or you try it for 99 cents with no credit check, easy enrollment. So you have up to $25,000 of bill payments. The limit is reported to the major credit bureaus, and you pay unlimited bills anywhere that cards are accepted. And you can sign up with Prime and only pay 99 cents in your first month. And finally, there is a premium plan that is coming. I don't know what the limit is going to be for premium, but you can build credit by paying all of your bills, of course, on your own schedule. $29.99 per month, or a bundle value of $39.99 per month. And this is for the highest bill payment limit, and limits are reported to major credit bureaus, and you can pay unlimited bills anywhere. So let's talk about some of the key takeaways that we can get from Stellar Fi. Now, one of the drawbacks of having this is that it only reports to Experian and Equifax. It does not report to TransUnion, which can sometimes be seen as not that good of a thing, since most creditors do pull from Experian, but the second next best bureau is TransUnion. Not as many bureaus pull from Equifax, unfortunately. So this may or may not be a make or break for you. Credit line is based on bill spend. So the more you spend, the more your bills will determine your credit line up to $25,000. So if you're in a unique situation where you have massive spend on bills, then this will definitely come in handy. Just know that it's only going to report to 2 out of the 3 major credit bureaus. And this account will not require you to have a hard inquiry, which is always very important if we can avoid those. Now let's go to the Stellar Fi website and look at some of the other information that they have on there. All right, so we are on the Stellar Fi website. So build your credit with every bill payment. Most of your bills don't help you build credit score. With Stellar Fi, they do, and they kind of just show you how you link all of the bills and how they break them all up, and they improve factors that make up 80% of your credit score, and that's credit age, credit use, on-time payments. Honestly, it's 90% too, because new accounts do count for 10% of your credit score. It doesn't show it here, but it's the same thing. And let's see, why should you care? So StellarFi works with you on something you already do. You pay your bills, but most of your bill payments go unreported because they are not made on loans or credit cards. Every month you pay your bills on time, and yet that positive money is not reflected. Now, I will say that if you do have some bills that you do pay, you can also use Experian Boost. And Experian Boost works in a similar fashion, but it doesn't report those large amounts like they can on StellarFi. But I'm sorry, that's like a tidbit. Just keep that in mind, that you can also do the same thing as well. But they report these things to Experian and Equifax. And that's the other benefit too, is that you get Equifax as well. And always safe. It gives you some more information on how it works when you link your accounts. You add your monthly bills, pay bills, and build credit. And they have some testimonials there. Let's go back to let's click here and let's go to the pricing again, just so that we can make sure that everything is the same. And again, yes, we have Light. And Light, again, is the $500. They show you the limits to who that reports to. And there's also a monthly and a yearly plan. So if you go to the monthly plan, the yearly plan, you can save 25%. So if you do end up doing the yearly plan, you do save some money, depending on, if you plan on keeping this. But you can try it for 99 cents. That is a good thing if you just want to test it out and see how it works. But you do get the up to 25,000 for the Prime plan. And that one, you can just try it out and see how you like it. The premium plan, we have no new information on, but if this does roll out, fairly soon, I'll make a new video where we talk about the premium plan. But really, for right now, we would be focused on either Light or on Prime. I would say to be able to try this for 99 cents is pretty good. And for you to actually get it for $9.99 is even better. And they compare all the features here. Premium is kind of irrelevant since it isn't out yet, but just looking at the difference in the Light and the Prime, I would say for the difference in price, it's kind of a no-brainer to just get the Prime. I mean, they give you way more value for almost the same amount per month. So I think, if you're looking for something to get a much higher limit, especially if you're thinking of getting a credit card or some type of line of credit and they're going to pull from either Experian or Equifax, then this may be a strategic move for you to get this trade line. And between the both of them, that's how we get the $26,800 in total credit line. So between the both of these, I would say that these are very, very good trade lines. I do recommend them. I'm going to put links in the description for you to click on them, and you just let me know which one you prefer. All right. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much. If there are any other trade lines that you would like to cover, please let me know about those trade lines. I would like to know of any other ones that maybe we haven't discussed yet, or any ones that you would like me to explore. I'm playing with the possibility of getting some new trade lines, but I am trying to preserve my credit age. I did get one new personal credit card. It did affect my credit age in such a way that when I apply for different things, I've been getting some more denials. So hopefully, after I let it age for a little bit of time, I'll be able to start reapplying for a few other business credit cards. Probably won't be doing any other personal ones for a little while. But if I find any other trade lines, definitely I'll come back here. I'll do a full deep dive on those new ones as I get them. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments which one of these you prefer. If you have it, let me know your experience with Grow, or let me know your experience with StellarFi. I would like to know which one helped boost your score more. Was it Grow? Was it StellarFi? If you have any of the other ones like Ava or Kovo or Kickoff, Let me know, out of all of these, which one has helped your credit score the most, or which one do you prefer to use out of all of them? That way, maybe I could do like a ranking to see if you had to just pick one of these, which one would you say is the best credit builder that you can possibly get, or the best credit builder app? And it could be based off of just user-friendly, fast reporting, who it reports to, ease, things like that. Because I want to know all the negatives, but I also want to, of course, know all the positives and, the reason why you picked that one as your top credit builder app. Other than that, you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching.